The Eric McKenna project was formed in March of 2019 by Pittsburgher Eric McKenna. The project is free-form and unscripted, with discussions that are unvarnished and purely authentic. Additionally, each engagement is professionally filmed and recorded at Eric's Boogie Street studio, located in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. Guests are by invitation only and come from all walks of life. Discussion topics include business and entrepreneurship, science, art, music and film, comedy, and other entertainment disciplines. Eric's biography includes Pittsburgh Realty agent, radio broadcaster, speaker, and guitarist. Additionally, Eric is the founder of Boogie Street Guitars, a guitar design and marketing firm which has worked with most notably Dimebag Darrell and Kiss legend Paul Stanley. Since 2023, the Eric McKenna Project podcast is exclusively presented by the Cozza Law Group, Pittsburgh's premier business attorneys.
The year before the pandemic, and then the
so
pandemic.
You must be doing, are you doing like 2 shows a week or
About 2? It slowed down this past year, but we were in the beginning. We were doing about 3 shows a week. This is 386. I didn't do May last year. Couldn't do it. You're the guest. Quit asking me questions.
I can't help it. I'm really bad at that. I'm going to try to honor that.
Good to see you, pal.
Yeah.
Appreciate you doing this.
I'm excited to be
Yeah, man. It's a long time overdue.
Which one am I going to hit? Like, is there like a...
Yeah, they should all be cold. Although it's like as hot as the sun out today in Pittsburgh. He brings the heat, see?
Mm-hmm.
So many things I want to ask you. But we're going to start just random, right off the bat. When Benny Fisher ponders life, how about that? On your quiet times, and you're getting away from yourself, you're thinking about things beyond where you're going, what you're doing. What are the big picture questions you think about?
What is the world going to look like 50 years from now? Like when I'm a very old man, if I make it to like 95 years old, I'm almost 44, so I think like if I'm 94 years old, sitting in a wheelchair or a rocker or something, just how different is this world going to look than what it looks like now? Because then I think about like my grandparents and like the changes that they had seen in their life. Yeah. And they weren't quite as visionary as me, so I don't think they were ever aware. I think they were reacting to the times different. But like, I'm very aware of like, things that are happening in the future, and like, when's the next robot taxi going to come out, and when are we going to start flying through the sky and all of that stuff. And I'm like, is that all going to actually happen, or am I just creating that in my own head because I buy into the hype of some of these tech companies and what they put out there? So that's one question. Another question is will money be relevant in 50 years from now? Well,
like money or currency?
Like money, not currency, because currency's that's I like that. That's deep. Like money as we know it, like I feel like is going to change quite a bit.
In what capacity? What do you mean? Cash is going away, right?
Yeah. Well,
you think?
Yeah, no, it won't go all the way away. It can't because no. So.
You don't think?
So I visit. So I'm a former contractor, still in a contracting business, a little bit of one, but I visit entrepreneurs all the time, helping them with their businesses, and most of them are contractors. And when I go to their office and we talk about their money and stuff like that,
cash is king.
Well, it's not that. Like you open up their safes and they got $1 million in cash, still in there. You know what I mean? And then you got all the old Italian guys. They got the cash.
That's in the barrel.
All the restaurant owners,
the wine barrels,
all the bar owners. They all got so people would buy roofs off me. And I know the bar owners because they pay me in all 20s, and it'd be like $20,000 worth of 20s. Well, guess where that goes? That goes into my safe, and then I got to start, you know what I mean? And so I still think that's going to, it's obviously getting less and less, but I think that's just going to wind down as as people just get older and people die off. Like,
you think the service industry is the last industry that has a need for cash, besides drug dealing, of course, but the service industry.
Drug dealing doesn't even need cash. I mean, if you want to be real, I mean, that's what the whole blockchain was made
of. Yeah, for your major players, but I mean, your street level, right? It's still cash.
I mean, believe it or not, I bet you, if we had like real numbers and we could track this, I believe that people are buying and selling drugs right now with Apple Pay, Venmo. Like,
I never even gave that a second thought.
I'm just telling you, like, well, it's because here, no offense, but like you're
a
little older.
Yeah.
You're a little older. I'm not saying that's
shots have been fired.
No shots. I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, there's like 25-year-olds that don't even know how to get cash. Like they don't even know how to get cash.
Yeah.
Because if they're on assistance or if they're like on, they're working jobs, everything's getting direct deposited. So like it like takes time to have to go to the
I
bank.
get it.
It's not like the old days.
I get it.
So it's eventually everything's changing that way. And then I think with AI, so back to my thing about money, is I think that if everything happens with the AI the way I believe that it's going to happen, it definitely is going to reduce the need for cost of goods are going to go down in price, which I think is great for everyone.
Sure.
I think that, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of like, universal basic income at all, but I don't think they're going to have a choice. We need to keep people.
It's going to be necessary at some point.
Well, I just need to, it's kind of like what we have now. Like, I don't want people coming shooting me for food.
Yeah. Displaced.
Like,
people.
I don't want, just give them their $3,000 a month or whatever they think, or $4,000 a month.
But will it ever be enough though?
Well, no, here's the thing. I think it will, because I think that the abundance is going to be so much, because right now people are buying whatever they want to buy now, and Amazon's made it so like you can just go click. Eventually, like we were talking about before the show, like we just stop. We don't even need stuff. And eventually everybody else is going to catch up once they realize if they have unlimited access to Amazon and basically can buy whatever they want because its cost of goods have went down, and they realize that they're like closing themselves in with boxes.
But do you think that will happen?
Yeah, eventually over the next, yeah. Oh, yeah. Think? Absolutely. And I also think that like if I gave you an unlimited access to Amazon and I just said you can buy whatever you want, it would be cool for like the first week or two. But then after you got over that edge, I actually think that you consume a lot less. Yeah. And so I do think that there's going to be a pendulum swing eventually where if I know I can buy whatever I want at any time that I want, especially when it comes to like your basic stuff, toothbrushes, toothpaste, food. And I know that like, I'm not going to, like, why am I going to keep over ordering like steaks when they keep going bad, or like vegetables? I'm just going to get what I want. And humans are very like creatures of habit.
You think?
And so but if it's all organic and it's all fresh and it's getting dropped off at your door every 3 days, you almost can't even waste it because like it's coming so fast.
I don't disagree.
And so I do think that's going to be time that's going to take. It's going to take, maybe 20 to 30 years for like people to just America to go backwards and not be so consumerism.
Well, what about the prestige purchase?
Well, there's still going to be that. And so that is still going to be, but I still think that's only going to be for like 10% of the humans are really driven. And it's usually your what I call your driven people, the people that have that genetic thing in their brain that they got to keep chasing no matter what, right? And so those people are still going to have those things, but those are the people that are going to be actually be the ones still earning. Mm-hmm. And they want to stay at the top floor of the Dubai penthouse. Sure. Like there's still going to be those experiences and those opportunities, but the only people doing that stuff now are the top 1%. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the 99%, they're going to be living a pretty good life. And they're actually probably going to be okay with it, just like they're okay with it now for the most part.
Yeah. So it's going to come down to comfort then.
Oh, yeah. So the more comfortable that you can make a human, the less that they're actually going to want.
Yeah, you would think.
I mean,
but they're also the lazy you're going to get.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to need them to work. You don't need them to work anymore.
So the comfort will be the rule then. If AI starts displacing people, right, and taking jobs, and there is a government-sourced income, then what will we do? Will we
creative projects like this?
Will we be creative?
Like exactly like when I walked into your podcast studio and I heard your little story with the guitars. There's a kid out there that's Eric McKenna that wants to like build and create guitars.
God bless him.
And guess what? And there's probably ones that are going to be like not even actual guitars. They're going to be like NFT guitars or digital guitars in the metaverse. Yeah. That like when Steven Tyler wants to put on a rock show and put your goggles on and he's going to be playing. Somebody's going to design him a cartoon or a digital version of a guitar.
Let's talk about that. So do you think we're going to get to a point where the physical reality here, this physical stuff, this interaction now, that we know as reality, do you think eventually will the virtual world or worlds that are created, do you think there will eventually be a blur in terms of human importance, relativism? Do you think it's going to be, or is it going to be like right now it's an activity, right? I go home, I put on my VR headset. It's super cool for a couple hours, but that's not reality. I got to take them off and go to work the next day. Do you think it's going to eventually?
That's interesting that you say that I have to go to work the next day, but what if your work was being in transacting and creating things in the virtual world?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean,
what does that look like?
There's already people doing it. And so, like, for instance, I don't want to say I know a lot of people, but like, for me, like, I can make probably more money not going out of the house if I just drill down behind my computer and and guess what? I'm connected now to the whole entire world. Mm-hmm. And so now I don't just have this access of my little, my little Pittsburgh town, like up along the river somewhere that's got 3,000 people and, that's it. Like, I have now access to like people that are like me. They share the similar interest, and language is no longer going to be a problem because like the AI will just as soon as I speak, it's already they already have the glasses for that and the headset for that to where like it's already translating in real time.
Right.
I think people are going to feel more connected. They're going to feel more seen now. Back to your other question about both, is there going to be a blur? I think it's just going to be a choice. And I actually think that in-person experiences are actually going to command it's going to be even cooler and more like, it's going to be like, I think you're going to get to do both, and they're both going to be amazing because you're going to crave both.
So it's like a premium experience, the human interaction.
Yeah, I think that the low cost and more affordable way for people to really experience like lots of cool stuff is going to be virtually. So like I hate to separate it, but let's just say you're 99% versus your 1%. Like, I'm not putting myself in the Jeff Bezos world. Those are going to be other experiences that those guys will be doing, and I'm sure they're going to be, they're trying to go to Mars, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's their experience. Our experience down here is going to be like, all right, well, I don't have the funds or I don't even think I want to, but if I have friends in Paris and I really want to like do this, we can already create that. It's just people they have to get more comfortable with it. And, kind of how like we always think those nerdy kids that never take the glasses off, they never stop playing video games. We kind of like put them down a little bit still right now. That is going to tip. And it's not necessarily because, like after people that are 40 years old and older eventually die off, those kids are going to be like, dude, that's just what we do. Oh, it's really cool to go to a stadium and see a real concert in person.
It becomes normal. That's what you're trying to say. The virtual experience becomes the normal.
Yeah, it is But like when you say normal, that's interesting because that's a relative.
To them, it'll be normal though.
Yeah, it's a very relative word. Yeah, normal. It'll be it'll be very common. I mean, you won't even like think about the car access. I mean, you don't even like right now. Like, I bet you 10 years from now, I'm gonna be able to I don't even gonna need to own a car. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to my watch like I'm Michael Knight in Knight Rider. You remember that?
I do. I actually remember Dick Tracy. He talked to the watch first.
Okay, well, see, there he goes. He's got an extra decade on me. But so yeah, you're gonna be able to say, hey, I want to go down to. I actually want to go to an in-person event at Heinz Field tonight. It's gonna pull up. I'm gonna get in. There's gonna be no driver. It's gonna drive itself.
Yeah.
And it's gonna pick up 2 other people that are going to that event. And I'm going to ride in there, and I'm going to be on my computer in there. I can have my glasses on in there. It could be a whole experience inside the vehicle. I have no idea what it's going to look like, but those are the types of things that are just going to blow your mind. And that, I won't actually have to be responsible for driving, for getting gas, for doing any of that stuff. I'm just going to be able to be more creative. I can have a conversation on the phone. I can meet a stranger in the ride if I wanted to choose the little bit cheaper route.
So the ease of entry into life just gets easier with virtual. A lot of the hangups or the obstacles that someone had, whether it's money, whether it's shyness, whatever it is, those kind of go away in the virtual world.
And being away, like for instance, like I would love to hang out with people in Japan more often, Australia more often, but then, my wife, she wants me to be home every once in a while, like hang out there. And so if I can just go into my virtual, and again, there's gonna have 4-wall off, like you'll be able to put flat screen TVs, like the whole thing. Are you familiar with Diary of a CEO podcast guy, Stephen Bartlett?
I know the last name.
Black guy from the UK, young guy,
yeah,
super sharp, great podcast.
Wait, the CEO? Yeah, CEO.
Diary of a CEO.
Yeah. I'm very familiar. I've watched a ton of
reels
episodes.
and stuff like that. He is like he's probably the one that if I could have a show like his, that would be the show.
Yeah, very articulate gentleman. Gets very good guests.
Yeah, really good guests.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and he's he keeps it to like an hour or two, which is nice. But regardless, he travels now. And he wants the same UK setup that he has, but now they got these virtual boards.
Okay.
And they have 4 of them. They're like $200,000 a board, and so they can set it up. He can set his own office up, and then they just click a button, and like they could literally recreate this, and it will look just like I'm here.
That's amazing.
And so
that aesthetic is the same no matter where he goes.
We could do that with yours.
That's crazy.
If you have like $800,000 and you have a graphic designer basically take the pictures and make it look exactly like this, even with the little lights moving and everything
Yeah.
We are right. Nobody would know the difference if we were shooting in, an underground Pittsburgh motel,
right,
or in Dubai at the penthouse,
right.
I wouldn't really know,
right.
And so as like technology gets better, cost of goods comes down, that type of access is going to be easy for all of us to have at our own home.
Got it. Does that frighten you at all? You excited about it?
No, I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's, what frightens me the most is the 70% of the people that are just going to fight it and get angry and all the hate that's going to, and it's just like all the it's the same nonsense that's going on now. Like when you turn on the TV or the social media, half the people are complaining, half the people aren't. It's just going to keep.
And every couple of years it flips.
Yeah, and it's
same percentages, just flips.
It's just and you've seen the scale where like the innovators and the early adopters are down here, and then like the pendulum goes up here, and then there's the laggards.
Yep.
And I'm sure it happened with the credit card.
Oh yeah,
the phone, the cell phone, all this stuff,
and the internet too. The internet when it first broke in '95,
well, and you're the perfect age because half your life you've had internet, half the life you haven't.
And I built a business on the internet at the inception, so I understood the big picture of like not just the Pittsburgh marketplace, but the whole world was my oyster in terms of reaching people. Back when it was message boards and you had to call them on the phone, it's like, but it was instant access anywhere. And that was so powerful from a commerce standpoint.
Well, I think it's just going to even be faster, and it's going to be more.
We did it on dial-up, man.
Well, and it's going to be more. The experience is just going to be so much more richer.
For sure.
Because it's going to have audio. The only thing I don't know if they're going to be able to do is are you going to be able to taste it. But maybe you have a tongue thing that you can take out, and maybe there's a way that they can shoot some type of injection.
What about like the sexual experience? And I'm not saying that in a lewd way. I'm just saying, because I think if they ever simulate that.
Well, they're already doing that.
I mean, really simulate.
Oh, no, they're already doing that.
If they simulate that.
They have robots that can. They have robots
mankind's in a different place.
Yeah. I mean, those people are always in a different place. The people that connect with that more than they connect with the actual human, that's a deeper conversation. I mean, but mankind's already going down. Like there's going to be pros and cons to everything, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think that the pro, believe it or not, I think that AI, and I think that like, your Tesla robot that you have at your house that's running around doing like basic chores and stuff like that. If it speaks to you in a nice way, because it knows how you want to be spoken to, and it's like always, it knows your energy. It can read your heart rate. It can see your breath. It's got history with you, and obviously you'll be able to tell it, hey, I need you to be more, you're being too nice, like I don't want you to be that nice. Like you'll literally be able to get that robot to speak to you the way that you exactly want to be spoken to.
You think that's good?
I didn't say it was good. I don't think that I don't think it's good the way people speak to each other now, so I don't think that's good. So I think any way that we can improve the way that we communicate with each other, and most of the time it's because childhood trauma, environment, socioeconomic things, all that stuff leads to the way that you are as a human. Of course. And most people aren't aware enough to be able to change it. But I think if we introduce a piece of technology that can erase faster that visceral trauma response that people have, and they can make people more, it can come out of a place of love instead of fear. Mm-hmm. I think that it could be used for good. But again, it's all about, hey, can you use it for good? Or do you want to use it for bad? You're going to be able to do both at scale.
So you're saying by interacting with that robot in that capacity is going to make them ultimately a nicer human to other humans?
Absolutely. And to other robots. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like we can use it for however we want, right? We still are in control of programming our own things, and hopefully it's always like that.
At what point doesn't it happen then? When
well,
they become?
I don't think that we're going to see that in our lifetime. It just
you don't think?
No, but I do think that no, I think that stuff that you see like in those sci-fi movies. I think that stuff's a couple hundred years out. Couple hundred years.
You don't think it's going to learn fast enough at an expedited pace?
Yeah, I do, but I still think that
it will override human commands because they'll be emotionally based.
Not to where
logically.
they completely just take over and they're just like really in charge of everything. When we have an AI president, that'll be the first.
Yeah.
But they're not. You got to remember that these guys, these men, these like driven men, like they're and some women too. Don't get me wrong. They're going to fight tooth and nail for the power. And that I know is actually on our side. Even though they might be doing it for the wrong reasons, it's actually for us normal humans, it's going to be a blessing because they don't want their jobs taken away.
Right.
And they're going to fight tooth and nail. And and that's the only thing that we can balance with. And they're doing it for the wrong reasons, but like that's okay. It's still going to help us, I think, overall as a
maybe in our generation, so we don't face the.
Well, we're not going to.
The upheaval.
It'll be. That's why I think we're hundreds of years away from like the stuff that you see in like sci-fi.
You think that far away?
Yeah.
You think you don't think the learning of those?
Well, I think it'll be learning, but I still think that we're still a long way away from a world where you just see. Again, I'm really bad with movies and stuff like that, but like we're a world that basically you are just like we really are in a bubble, and the robots are really controlling everything, and we're coexisting, but they are actually the dominant species. I still believe that we're only because of
what if that's happening now? Do you ever get that thought? Do you ever give a thought that maybe the whole thing just one big simulation, or some other greater power that's manipulating us 24/7, or that we're just a smear on the black hole and we're not really living? It's just a projection. Do you ever give any thought to any the really big questions, like what is exactly going on here?
Yeah, I think that man, and I say man, I mean all persons. But man's this polarity between good and evil, these binary choices that we constantly are always making, thousands of them a day, whether we're aware or not, and it's been happening for thousands of years. We've created that, I think, ourselves.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that there's an outside. I think that.
So we have free will then.
Oh, 1,000%. We have free will, and I just think that you're seeing free will create, and then I'm a big God person, so I believe that God created us all to be like Him and creators like Him, and so we're all very creative. Some show it more than others because they've been able to express that. Some people, when you're a baby, depending on where you were born into, you get like that shut down, locked down, and you got to go do this, you got to go do that. They forget about, lights and painting and art and all this. They don't even know because they're never in an environment that breathed life into that. Now, they still have that innately inside of them. They just need a year with Benny, and they will eventually then go because if they didn't have to worry about money, they didn't have to worry about this, they didn't have to worry about their dad telling them they weren't good enough.
Right.
I'm a big fan. I believe that if we were all left to just do whatever we really wanted to do, eventually, once we healed from some of the trauma that we've all experienced, I do believe that we would all then go on to find what our true talent and our gifts are. And I think if the world can get to that place collectively, if everybody was doing what their DNA said that they should be doing, like innately, like that God created them for, this world's going to be amazing. That's going to be heaven on earth.
Okay.
And so but I believe that what we're seeing now is just man's search for, there's the people that want to be God, or they're trying to figure everything out mathematically and scientifically. they're like, oh, well, I can do that. And I can do that. Well, didn't you ever think the guy that created you actually gave you those skills to do that anyway? Like, you know, and so like, for instance, like cancer, you know, whoever cures cancer, that's just another creative person out there. Instead of making guitars, guess what he likes to do? He likes to figure out disease control. I don't know. That's just another creative power. But when you take all of us and put us all together into one, like, I don't know, if you could hook us all up together, like Elon's trying to do with the Neuralink, I believe that that would be the closest thing that we could get to God. And I think God's even 1,000 times more powerful than that.
So society, so that goes back to the initial conversation where our government might have to have a mandatory guaranteed income. And if that happens, because AI displacement of work, we will head toward a society where we have more and more comfort, and we may start to see less stress, less traumas, and more creativity. Do you think that could be the spark?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely is possible. Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that what I'm already learning by using AI is if you search out for those things, you will learn all about those things, and you can really start to help yourself heal.
Yeah.
At scale versus like, you know, now, you know, the old school method was like, you know, try to talk to a therapist for 1 hour a week. If your insurance would cover it, if you had enough money to pay for it. And like, let's just assume that you picked the right therapist, because not all therapists are made for you.
Oh, of course.
And so like, I don't know, like, you know, or get you on a bunch of meds that just kind of basically just temporarily keep you like paused. So then that way, like, we don't have to deal with you. And that's our method now. But like, if a Tesla robot can come into your house, take care of most of your stuff, and talk to you like a, you know, like a loving, kind person. Yeah. That just wants to show interest in you and is curious about it. It's almost like the way the podcast works. Like if everybody treated you like a podcast guest every minute of your life, you got nothing to worry about, because they're showing interest in you. They're like, and you're present. There's nothing else going around here. Right. We're not worried about anything right now. I don't even know what's happening outside, especially in this room. It's like so like perfect. It's like you feel like you're in a different world.
I'm just glad you don't have OCD.
Yeah, no.
I've had one guest that had a problem with it.
Literally couldn't stop like watching.
Yeah, it was a little rough. Every 15 minutes they'd go out and they'd chain smoke for a while and they'd come back.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I mean,
you always interested? Let me ask you this: were you always very forward thinking, even as a child?
Yes. I just didn't have a place. I didn't have a place to channel that energy though, and so I got met with resistance from, you know, parents, teachers, friends, people with limiting beliefs. But yeah, man, I mean, as soon as I got introduced to the internet when I was probably, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, you know, I was born in 81. So, I mean, I remember my dad getting, he was pretty into like tech stuff, and he would get, you know, we had a 14K modem. So like we had like one of the first modems, and like I had one of the first computers, and it would take us 30 minutes to download a picture of a girl in a bikini and like, you know,
or naked.
I say that
when he wasn't looking.
I didn't say that in case my mom's listening. All right, just like, come on, man.
The truth,
you know. So yeah, it was Budweiser. The Budweiser girls, man. They had the Budweiser bikinis. Of course, you know, it was like soft. It was like soft porn.
Very soft.
Now that's just like, dude, there's your 16-year-old daughter's, you know, wearing that to the next festival she goes to, and you don't even know.
Terrible.
Until you look at her Instagram and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, horrified, right?
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I've always been forward thinking, and I just didn't have a name for it. And then I read a book called Rocket Fuel, a business book, because I was like just so frustrated with what was happening in my business, and I knew that I was a problem. And then this guy named Gino Wickman called this term the visionary, and I never heard that term before. Mm-hmm. And I realized that's like, I'm a visionary. Like, I'm very creative. I can solve multiple problems. I can think about complex things. I love big relationships. I love seeing the future. I love bringing the future to life, even though nobody else thinks it can happen. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and a good idea of that is when I started my roofing company in Pittsburgh, you know, I came to Pittsburgh in 2010. I worked for my uncle a little bit at his company. And it was a typical Pittsburgh roofing company, right? Like, you know, last name construction, you know, no marketing, no branding,
just
not using any technology, you know, still typing up stuff on Word docs, and, you know, at least it was better than just writing a quote on a business card. But it was just, yeah, it was just like the old school way to do business, right? And so in 2015, when I went my own way, I started the Big Fish Conrtacting company. I came up with this cute little yellow fish.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put that out to a couple people in my network, and my network was very limited back then. It was mostly family and a couple people that maybe knew me. Because I was just I was just a sales guy at my uncle's company. Like I was really nobody. And I said, I'm going to call this the Big Fish Conrtacting Company. And everybody's like, that's the dumbest idea ever. Like, they're going to think that you sell fish sandwiches or you rent out boats down at Three Rivers. Like, that's what they're going to think. I said, and my first response to him was, no, they won't. Not when they know that we're the best roofing company in Pittsburgh. Like, that, they'll just think Big Fish just means roofing.
Amen.
And they couldn't see it.
You had to create dissociation through quality work.
Yeah, you just do it. Yeah, you just do it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And then people talk about it, and then you do a little bit of branding and promotion, and like next thing I don't know. But yeah, that's just a good little point of like, all right, when I'm left to my own thing, like I can create. Nobody else is maybe gonna get it. Mm-hmm. That's how I know I'm on the right track, though. Is like when I have like if I have 100 people, or let's just say I have 10 people in front of me, and I'll pitch them, and if 9 of them say that's dumb or stupid, I'm probably onto something. That's worth like doing something, worth like taking the chance of the risk, of doing it. And so, that's just that early adopter innovate. Like, I was just born with that. There was it's a blessing and a curse, first of all.
Yes.
It's not all
yes.
It's not all roses and rainbows. Now, when you see like, the Elons of the world, the Steve Jobses of the world, like that hit all that success, yeah, you can be like, oh, it's all good. I can just tell you that it's not all good. It's really miserable. It's sometimes like if you don't know how to harness it and you don't have other people in your life that can help you manage some of your weaknesses, you just end up dead in a gutter somewhere.
Well, I think Jobs was an absolutely fucking miserable human being.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant, but a horrible human being.
That's what I keep hearing.
Everything that I read and what I've watched tell me that he really struggled with interpersonal relationships.
Well, of course. Because he becomes so obsessed with what he could see in the future that he would not stop no matter what, and you're not going to get in his way. You know what I mean? Even if you work for him, you're not going to get in his way. As soon as you say, "Oh, I can't do that," he already sees that you can. And I think that there's a combination. Like the more emotionally aware I become, the more better I am at communicating. But then sometimes I think, well, I'm not going as fast, and I'm not actually getting they collapse time. I mean, guys like him and Elon, they don't even think for 1 second. They just, hey, you don't like it? See ya. Go ahead and go work for Walmart. You know what I mean? Like, and they've created that culture over and over again, binary choices, person by person.
Right.
And now 20 years later, all of a sudden, look at Amazon, Tesla, all these big companies, Facebook. They've already weeded all of the naysayers out. All the people that are there, they're the futuristic thinkers. You know what I mean? Even some of the engineers that they have, they're all on that spectrum.
Yeah.
Of the early people.
But it takes brilliance, though. I mean, because
sure.
Other people can try that without the brilliance and burn to the ground.
But then most of the people they got working for them, believe it or not, they don't need, they're actually I feel like they're, so some people might say they're a little bit all on the autism spectrum or whatever. And that's fine. We're all on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But they don't care because guess what? They're like that too.
Yeah.
They've created their own culture.
Yeah. Single focus.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're just and they're a bunch of amazing technical nerds that are all focused on the same thing. And we're us regular, I don't know, keep saying us regular people or whatever.
You feel you had that?
We may not. No, I really like people. And I wish I was more like that sometimes because I think it would help me execute better. I sometimes think I would be rather not see obstacles and not slow down for humans as much because I can see it and I just want to get it done. But I actually like humans too much. Yeah,
you're worried about that human relationship.
Yeah, I care more about the human relationship than what they're going to say about what awards I'm going to win or what tech magazine I would be in. So, so I realized that I've used this entrepreneur thing. It's more of entrepreneurialism is almost like self-help for the people that are wired a certain way. And for me, it's all right, I'd much rather go on the people side than the building the biggest company side.
That's interesting.
And I realized, I think I didn't.
Can they both coexist?
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
yeah, I do. I think they can. I think Chick-fil-A's done a really great job, of being a people-focused company.
they're a principled company.
Yeah. Well, principal company, and then like they focus on having the right people, and they got freaking amazing systems and processes. But systems and processes are easy. It's getting people to follow those.
Yeah, because they all have. I'm sure Burger King, McDonald's also have amazing processes.
McDonald's was the first brand. They were like the blueprint, right? And so then everybody, Chick-fil-A just probably copied McDonald's freaking fast food model, and then just made it better, and then made sure that.
So what's the differential?
The people
they're hiring, right?
The people,
and why are they doing it? Why are they doing it better than the others?
People, because they care. They know that if they focus on the people and they get the right people, that it'll eventually come. And now we are now just starting to see this over the last, I don't know. When I was a kid, I didn't even know what Chick-fil-A was, except for there was one. I grew up in Ohio, and there was one at the food court, but it wasn't like there was one, McDonald's was everywhere.
It wasn't mainstream.
McDonald's was like big time. And Chick-fil-A is still not necessarily like, McDonald's still outnumbers Chick-fil-A 3 or 4 to 1. But guess what? Chick-fil-A does more in revenue and profit
of course,
than 4 McDonald's was put together.
Well, because McDonald's turned into from the top to a very dysfunctional organization.
Well, they're very real estate focused. They don't really care about. I'm sure
they always were.
Yeah, they care about the real estate. It's a real estate company that just happens to be in the fast food business.
Burger King was trying to be that as well too for many years. I'm not sure they succeeded.
Well, that's the other problem. See, when people copy and they really don't have anything new or exciting to offer, like McDonald's, that's why McDonald's still beats Burger King.
Yeah, it was just a choice.
But
and McDonald's would always do all the market research to find a location, and Burger King would just go buy something next door.
Right. And again, that can only last so long if you don't have anything else. And if you're always just taking that, it's not a terrible model, but like it definitely is not one that I would be interested in.
Yeah. You'll never be the best at doing that. You'll survive and you might even thrive, but you're not going to be competitively at the top.
You can't because you're not innovating.
Right.
That's why Apple has such a head start on everyone, and just because they're out there, and they've done it well, and they've figured out how to capture the majority of human psychology that loves their products. I mean, even opening the box,
they developed a successful product cult.
Yeah. And even opening the box. I mean, it's fascinating to me when a new iPhone comes out, whether it's, we're in Pittsburgh. So whether you go to the South Hills Village, you go to Shady Side, I'm sure Ross Park's got one. And the new iPhone comes out, and I kid you not, you'll see 200 humans in line, excited to pay $1,500 for a new phone that's pretty much the same as their old phone. It might have a little bit better camera. It may have a little bit better zoom. It might have a little bit better battery life. But it's pretty much the same thing that they had 2 years ago.
Marketing's a powerful thing.
And they are lined up. And they're processing orders as fast as they can at $1,500 a clip. When I don't know. I'm sure. I don't even know what the competitors are. I'm sure the competitors are, $500 for a phone. Mm-hmm. It's just fascinating.
And Android typically has innovations years before Apple does.
Supposedly, but I don't even know because I'm just bringing the Apple ecosystem. But everyone that tells me that they're big Android fans always says that, and I'm just like, so, that doesn't always matter.
No, obviously not.
It does. That's not what matters to people.
Obviously not.
Tech and data isn't the only thing that matters. Comfort, community. I don't know. You're an Apple guy, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I saw the blue text. Mm-hmm. That's a thing.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Have you ever been in a group message with somebody?
Somebody's green and everybody goes green.
You're like, yeah. And you're like, screw that. I'm actually not going to have him in my friend circle. Who's
how insane that is?
Who's the guy with the droid? Man,
it's insane. It's insane.
But it's a thing.
It is a thing.
But you know who's got the droids for the most part? The tech, the nerd, they're more the CFOs of the world, the accountants,
a lot of the engineers,
yes. Because they want a buck. They want to buck the vibe.
100%. 100%.
So that just tells me more about them and from a spiritual and like a way they look at life than it does like, do they really, is the technology that much better?
I just like it because it's easier. Macs have always been easier from a computing standpoint.
Well, they just all work together,
and they work.
And I'm not that smart, so
I
don't really know how to like do all the tech stuff. But every time, like whether it's my phone, my iPad, or my computer, my desktop, my laptop, like everything's just it's like the same experience. And like all my photos are there, my data's there, like my windows are there.
Seamless.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And now I got the music thing going, and like even though I know people they love Spotify, I think that Apple Music is like, I don't know, very underrated, because like I don't want to have to go to another thing. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised Apple Music is not dominant, because when iTunes came out, it was extremely dominant. But as time's gone on, Spotify kind of usurped them. And there's some others too.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is. Again, I'd have to ask my wife. She's big enough. She loves Spotify, and I'm like, why are we paying for both? Like, that drives me nuts. That's a whole other topic. This would be a good thing you could do with your guests. Go in, have them open up their subscriptions. Like most people don't even.
How many redundant ones do you have?
Well, it's just like you go in your settings, you have your name, and you go to subscriptions, and like all that stupid stuff that you sign up for, and you forget that there's a free trial. And then there's like a $7 renewal at the end of the year, or better yet, a $70 one,
canceling,
and then it hits you, and then
makes me sick.
Yeah, and then you forget, and then it's like, oh, you already paid for it, and you're not gonna get your money back.
I'll cancel it next year. I might as well. I paid for the whole year now.
Yeah, well, no, there's a feature in the phone that you can just go in and cancel it, and it'll leave you up all the way till the last day, so you can still use it.
That's very cool.
But you can manage your subscriptions that way. So I have to teach a lot of people in my life, especially if I'm paying the Apple bill. Like I'm trying to teach them. So I got that family sharing plan, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm paying for my son's games. My mother-in-law, she downloads a cleaning app or something. Like, I have no idea what she's downloading, but just all kind of, I get to watch.
All right, let me ask you this.
All right.
So, I made a business, rather successful business, for a period of time, catering to the uniqueness that it seemed like primarily Americans, seem to want. Like, we want unique, custom things that maybe only we have, or only a select group of my friends have. That uniqueness was a big drawing point to the guitars we made. I found out right away, Americans want custom. They want something to show off, talk about. Look at me.
Peacock.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But in Rocco, Cozza, and we talk about this a lot. I don't know if we ever came to any conclusions. But it appears, though, if you take that and set it over here, now look at how quick we are to join a political team, cult side, or we're just quick to join groups. Like, we almost lust to be included in things. How does that jive with the other side that wants uniqueness? Like, we've got this, like polarity, I think, and I don't understand, because both of those are existing in this culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everyone wants to feel like they belong, and I think that connection is probably going to be over the next. You talk about the future, so 10 years from now, I believe that human connection, these in-person experiences, are going to be the most valuable thing that you can have. It's going to be more valuable than money. It's going to be more valuable than your shiny house, your car. Like, being a part of a group of people that are like-minded is going to be a rarity, because, again, people are getting more, because of all the technology and staying at home and putting the goggles on and playing the video games, they're becoming more like introverts that are like afraid to like even mingle.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but you're going to wake up one day 10 years from now and you're going to be like, bro, I don't actually have any like, this is weird. Like, I'm just talking to like numbers, and like there's virtual people, and like they're going to wake up one day and be like, man, I crave that. And they're not going to know where to get it. And so one of my things I'm passionate about over the next 10 years is I want to build a really cool community. Not just for myself, because I know it's going to be valuable just to have, a group of people that you can like, lean on, and help and connect. But I think to teach other people how to do that, because I think that's a skill that I was able to like. I just feel like it's in my DNA. I'm a natural connector. Not everybody's like that, and so I need to use that gift to help other people connect, because I think they're going to need to connect more. But back to your other question about this conundrum of like, all right, so you want to be in a group, but then you want to be unique. But I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you can be in a group. Like, I think you can have a bunch of guitar heads and they can all be unique in their own little way. Now, they have the one similar theme in that they all like guitars and they all like music. But there's going to be nuances about their story, their life story, the real jobs that they do. If guitars is just their hobby, like, there could be a lawyer, there could be a real estate agent, there could be a roofer, like they can all like guitars. And so I think that the fun part about life is that you can have both at the same exact time and it be okay. Did that help you answer that?
Yeah, I think I get it, where you're headed with it. I just, I'm so amazed by how much at times we are willing to accept the things that we see without asking the next question.
Oh, so you're asking about curiosity. So yes, curiosity has been dampened. The same way I told you creativity has been kind of dampened a little bit and suppressed. Yeah. It's the same thing. Curiosity and creativity to me are the same thing. Because I don't believe that you can have creativity without curiosity first. And so I think that there's, me, I'm a naturally, like I was born curious. Okay. And I fought it no matter how hard parents, teachers, siblings, friends wanted to fight it, like, and told me to like, shut up, don't stop asking me questions, like whatever. I just never stopped. That caused a lot of pain, a lot of like, good things that happen. There's a lot of people that just give up because they don't have that. It's not their number one thing that like they're pressing for. So they kind of just, and they just, they go start to be part of the machine. Not the 90%.
They suppress their creativity.
And their curiosity, because they're actually suppressing their curiosity, which then makes them not creative.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I'm very passionate about, because I believe that everybody can be more curious. And I think curiosity is something that you can practice. And if you start to drown out all the noise and like realize that like you are a product of your environment, and the only reason that you're 36 years old and you're working at Lowe's and you had this kind of life is because if I look back at your life and we looked at all those binary choices, you were just being in reaction mode.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a product of your choices for sure.
Yeah, and your environment. And sometimes they weren't even your choices, but you just keep going with the flow because like you lost that ability to ask a deeper question and figure out, like, you didn't have that thirst for more, and I think with the, the internet, when it came out at the time, like it was perfect for me because like as a young kid, I could just go be by myself and the internet wasn't yelling back at me. Like, don't ask me that.
Of course.
And so I was able to learn on my own, but there's not everybody that's a self-starter. And so like the more I learned about myself, then I realized, man, I'm really like just blessed with some of these, like I call them gifts. I'm an activator. So like I like to take action on things. I am are you familiar with Strength Finders at all? Have you ever heard that? Like, so it's like a personality
what is it?
profile. It's called Strength Finders.
Okay.
There's a couple books out there. And they have like 34 strengths. And they basically ask you a bunch of questions that you say, hey, do you like this? Do you like that? Does this make you happy? Whatever. Take a 20-minute survey and you get your answers back, and they rank the 34 strengths. So the 34 is the same. So if I take it, you take it, they're just going to basically jumble up our 34 and say from top to bottom.
Right.
What is my top 5? And then, I can see my bottom 5, and
right.
me and you have some differences, right?
Right.
What's cool about that is because there's 34, it's almost like a lottery, right? So there's 34 different possibilities. Like to have the same exact order for the top 5, or I think the top 10, you're like one in like, I think in the top 10 that have the same exact order of 10 is like 1 in 7 in America. It's that unique. So that's kind of cool. But like it shows you your strengths. And like for me, number 1 is activator. Number 2 is woo, winning others over. Number 3 is futuristic. And then ideation. And then competition. That's my top 5. My wife doesn't have any of those. And like her bottom strength is activation. Like she won't act on anything. Like she can't sometimes make a decision, and it's not a bad thing, but there's a lot of other things that she's strong at,
sure.
Right? And she can lean into that, right? And so, when I look at my strength, I wish I would have had that test when I was 7. So then that way, and I wish that my teachers and the people around me could have figured out how to use those results to like help just maybe guide me in a different direction and make me feel like I was, because, when you're in that 10% of the people that were born with this, like, chromosome thing, it's called, I call it the, what is that? There's a book out there called Driven. And Dr. Doug Brackman talks about, I forget
the curiosity chromosome.
It really is. That's what it is. It's the one that just keeps you like just moving no matter what, asking questions, bucking the system. You know what I'm talking about. And there's an allele on our receptors. It's like I think it's the D2 or D4 gene or whatever it is. And there's like something sticking onto that never makes me feel satisfied. Okay. And so then I always need a little bit more dopamine, right? And you can get that in lots of different ways.
Well, when you say that, if somebody gives you the answer to a question from that curiosity, are you still not satisfied with that answer?
Well, again, everything's a little bit different. That's a hard question to ask because it all depends. It depends on how I look at the human that's giving me that answer.
Are you quick to doubt?
Quick to doubt. It all depends on it would all depend on the subject. And do I care? Like, if I care, then I want to. If the more I'm interested and the more I care about a topic, then I might have more thoughts. Or
I'm probably going to guess though you don't spend a lot of time in indifference.
Not a lot. I wouldn't say a lot, but I also don't spend a lot of time. In wonderment, like in the wondering, like wondering is like I don't sit still enough to I wonder where he got this because I have the same exact thing at my house. And I wonder when he got it, and I wonder if it was around the same time that I got it, and I wonder if he
IKEA 6 years ago.
I think mine was IKEA in 2020, like during COVID.
Yeah, it was 2018, I think.
Yeah, and then I'm wondering, like, do you ever just do like that
all
with
the time?
It?
All the time.
Yeah, and then you ever do like this with it?
Nah, I try not to do that one. It gets a little ugly.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, I might wonder about that for a second, but I might not wonder at all, like, where you get this light at. Like, I don't know. Like, so I think that's all very dependent on the person, the topic, things like that. It's definitely got to be more interest-based.
Yeah.
You should do that. You should do that Strength Finders assessment.
Am I? I'm curious now. I've done the Myers-Briggs.
Oh yeah, Myers-Briggs. Yeah. Are you? I'm a. Let's see. I'm an ENFJ, I think.
I can't remember now.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's the quadrant, right?
Yeah, there's only 16 different types.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but it was spot on though.
Yeah, they all are as long as you answer them truthfully.
Garbage in, garbage out. Quality in, quality out.
Yeah, I started using a lot of those assessments to help me make better people decisions in business.
Yeah, you pay attention to them.
Well, because in that way, it doesn't take me 2 years. Because I'm a slow learner sometimes, and you hire a bunch of people, and then you wonder 2 years in, like, dude, why do I not like this guy? Why does this guy suck at his job? I don't know. I didn't know. I need more data. Now that I'm a data junkie now, so I like the data now. If I can get the data on a person. Because I can already use that data as a predictor of success, especially in roles. For instance, like I can tell, if you're supposed to be a salesperson or an accountant, you may not know because you just need a job and your mom told you need to get a paycheck. So you're going to show up and you'll take anything I tell you and you're going to sell me on the interview. But if I just probe a little bit, ask more questions, then I get you to take an assessment. I can see if, like, first of all, you're in alignment because it's really hard to lie a bunch of different times unless you're a psychopath. I'm not going to be able to, if you get stuck with a psychopath, you get stuck with a psychopath. Yep. But 99% of humans aren't psychopaths. Right. So I just need a little data because I really want to make sure that you're in alignment.
And
I put you in a place to succeed. Because if you're a salesman and I put you in the accounting department, you're going to be freaking miserable.
Absolutely. Do you think about the concept of indifference ever?
No. Tell me more.
I'm of the belief that constructive indifference would be a practice that more humans should probably practice because we are so triggered by our social media or the web in general to have an opinion on everything we see when most of those opinions are inconsequential and probably don't contribute to our life by formulating an opinion and then talking about it.
Yeah. So I never heard that term before, but yes, I'm probably very indifferent a lot then. Because if I don't think it matters, like then I just don't Yeah, I'm like, I guess I would be indifferent about it. Like, I don't know, pick a topic and I'll tell you like, oh, I'm indifferent about it because I probably am. It's probably not worth my time. It's probably not worth my energy.
Well, right. And I believe the word indifference got kind of a bad rap in society. And, because I think people look at it negatively. Well, if you're indifferent, how could you be indifferent to someone else's plight or whatever this issue is? And I think it's healthy to be honest with yourself. And if you don't have an opinion on any topic, whether it's being discussed or whether it's, it's not, to not pretend that you do.
Oh.
And I think a lot of society pretends all day.
Yeah, I guess they do. Yeah, I guess they do. I try not to hang out with those people.
Well, it's kind of good. It's kind of hard to distinguish them all the time, though,
Well, if they're always, but here's the thing. Here's how you can tell. Especially on social media, you can tell because they leave receipts everywhere they go. They leave they comment on every single thing. Well, are you just trying to be seen? We notice you. And usually that's just they want to be seen or they want to be heard. That comes from not being seen or heard as a child. I know what that's like. And sometimes we get a little bit, we want to project out a little bit. And that's okay. But they're just not aware yet that they're always doing that. And so I think
someone needs to tell them.
Yeah. And then there's the school of thought, do I need to tell them or...
Right. Who? Or somebody needs to tell.
Yeah, but why though? Because they're gonna, maybe they figure it out on their own, maybe they don't. But at the end of the day, who am I to say that? I'm indifferent about them. I mean, being different. I don't know. I got no time. I ain't got no time to go tell Johnny or Karen on Facebook. They're like, hey, how you're doing that? Because then I'm just projecting onto them. Hey, listen, just keep putting the receipts out there. That's all.
Yes, I do think a lot about indifference. I try to manage my indifference strategically. And I do that because it's less taxing on my brain. But there are occasions where I will not speak on a subject that may be in conversation with where I am or what the scenario is. And then I get accused sometimes, naturally, of being heartless or soulless or, especially when it has any political tinge to it, which is just about everything nowadays. But I manage that indifference, and I think it's such a positive thing. I just don't think it's very prevalent today. And
does that bother you?
Yeah, bothers me.
Why does it bother you?
It bothers me because I don't think most humans are qualified academically to speak on most subjects that we do. And we formulate misinformation, spread misinformation, and we head toward vitriol unnecessarily. Especially in this media-drenched world we live in, social media being at the top. And that's hurting the human condition, I believe.
Or do you ever wonder if that's actually helping the human condition?
In what way?
Well, because then we can see how bad it is. So that way when it's better, then we're like, oh, wow, this is actually really refreshing.
By default, I hope you're right.
I just feel like we're in a very, if I was looking at the stock market, I feel like we're in a very dip from a human condition type of thing that you're talking about. And I don't think that's a bad thing because I think that through the pain, you can find the purpose and you can... And I think that it's necessary, actually, to go through the pain of this, whatever you want to call it.
Now you're speaking big picture here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I would make the argument that there's so much unnecessary caustic behavior because of that. Fighting for beliefs that are unvetted and guessed at. And then,
but it's also at the end of the I get it. But if you don't realize, I don't know. For me, I just realized that that's all coming from that's a product of their environment. They're I wonder, and then I get curious about the person. I'm like, wow, what kind of life have they experienced to where they feel like they need to say that, or they need to always be in that, or they need to have that viewpoint, and they're so I lean into curiosity. Then again, I'm like, wow, I wonder what they went through to have to be like that. And then I actually have I almost feel, I don't want to say feel sorry for them. I feel sad actually, because I probably remember myself being in that little world for a little while. And not to talk like that I'm better, but like I just think it's an awareness thing. Like once you understand that, then you can be a little bit more practice more brevity, I guess, and like be a little bit more succinct with your words, and make a bigger impact with your words rather than just
quiet's the word.
Yeah, and there's a lot of wisdom in that, but I don't think if the whole world was like that, I think that would be a boring world. So I think that you just have to let it play out. I think that you have to I think it's going to help with your patience. I think that if you're watching that like triggers you a little bit, and I think the more that you can lean into it and have curiosity about the human on the other side, give them a little grace.
I do.
They don't know, and then you're practicing patience, which I think is helping a lot of other things.
Yeah,
and I think it'll eventually balance back out. And I think now we're just in maybe you're spending too much time on social media. I don't know.
Oh, it's entirely possible.
That could be a thing, because like you mentioned media and social media. Well, like if you didn't watch the media, which most of the people are now getting it on social media. Like I don't even have cable, so like I don't even know. Like I guess I could like download Hulu or something, but like I just try to stick to Netflix and like I'll watch a movie once in a while or a series that comes out, but like there's no news on there. Like I'm not going to go sit and watch the 5 o'clock news like our grandparents did. So like,
I don't think I've ever watched local news in years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But there was a point in your time like that's just what you did, because that's what your parents did.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like they had 3 channels when you were growing up, if that. Yeah,
the public was more ignorant from information standpoint, but maybe happier. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, but when you say happier, you're just assuming that. I think there's just as many people happy back in 1950 as there is today.
You think?
Yeah.
You think
I
so?
just think that the negative I think the negative.
That's human nature.
But I think the negative just 10-1, and you all of a sudden think it's 10-1, but like you also didn't hear from anybody back in 1950, and they were probably freaking miserable.
Yeah.
They just didn't they just didn't display it. But deep down inside, like, at the end, I think that this is all just a reflection of who we are anyway, as what you see on the media or social media.
So the internet leveled the playing field for every human, theoretically, that we all have an equal voice.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you just don't want to hear from half of them.
Yeah, so it's like, so people will say that's the beauty of the internet. And then you can make a converse statement that what's wrong with the internet is everybody's got an equal voice.
But you could also, I get it, but like you could also curate your own audience and create your own.
Ideally.
Right.
Ideally.
And I don't know. I would love to look at here's what I would love. I would love to look at your feed. Like what's your most popular thing that you watch or consume? Is it what social media app?
I mean, what social media app am I on the most?
Yeah.
Probably because of my age demographic, probably Facebook.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's what I grew up with.
So that's fine. When you say you grew up.
Well, my later part of my life,
I'm
2008 or whatever.
Yeah. So if I was like to open up, and again, based on what I just heard you say about like, everyone's got a voice, and I'm seeing these comments, I'm seeing these things, and it's just like, it's like this. They just don't. No one knows what they're talking about, right? Like they're all just.
No, I don't say that.
Well, no, I know, but not knowing. But like, there's a lot of people that are just.
Well, overnight,
just spewing stuff. Yeah,
there's
right?
the international political experts. There's,
my favorite one is when when Israel is nuking Iran, and like all the people on my feed are all of a sudden like
that's my point.
Experts, like
they're flying the Ukraine flag, or they're flying the Russian flag, or they're flying whatever.
And I just find that, and to me, I just find it fascinating. And so,
it is fascinating.
But for you, I would like to go scroll through there and see, like, all right, what people are you following? Because the things that
I block a lot. Don't worry.
The things that are in your feed are the things that you're getting. And so, like, whether they're actual news channels or distribution or people that you follow, like, your feed is curated to like what you've obviously been interested in, what you're clicking, what you're blocking, and all that stuff. And so I would just ask you the question.
Yeah, I like international news, international politics.
I think that maybe that
sure.
do you think you secretly like watching all of the people have a voice?
Yeah, probably because I find amusement out of it. It's just so pathetic. I mean, it just, to me,
but I mean like,
that's how I handed.
But I feel like, okay, but I feel like half the lyrics in heavy metal or rock music are like probably, a little bit on the sad or negative, thing too.
Probably.
But we like that sometimes,
Of course. And
so we like sometimes.
Yeah, we're attracted to the dark and the light for sure. No question. No question. I don't like to see I guess what my point is, I don't like to see people being caustic with each other for what really amounts to be for absolutely no reason. I mean, I don't engage. I just sit and watch it. And it's just like, I know these two people. Roughly, I know one really well, or maybe I'll know this one a little bit, but I just see that the attacks. And it's like, you people have no reason, number one, probably to even interact. But you know, you are, and now you're beating each other up. I mean, we got community boards. And being a realtor, I'm in and out of those, but.
Man, I do not wish that community on anyone. That community is vicious.
Wow. I mean, from my hometown, you know, it's like guys I went to school with were on there. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. And whatever's going on there, you know, if this politician does this, or this politician does this, or there's this policy, whatever, they're out there. And these two guys were thick as fucking thieves growing up.
Oh, they didn't know. The internet, like basically, because
it's unbelievable.
Well, you've outed your political party as soon as you either like or dislike something. So now everyone knows. They're like, yeah. I've heard a couple.
We used to drink together, play cards together, vandalize cars together. We did all this shit together, and now you won't even look at each other.
I've heard a couple stories like that.
It's crazy.
Like, all of a sudden, who was that? Was that? I think it was one of my wife's friends. I think she told me this story where like. Yeah, nobody, you know, girls, you know, back in the day didn't really talk about politics, and so all of a sudden, all of a sudden, oh, this is what happened. I can't remember the story exactly. I'm going to kind of try to get it right.
That's right.
So I went to the, you know, out in Lake Trobe, they have the big Trump thing with the Trump house, and it's like a spectacle. It's got like a flag and anything. And so, you know, listen, I've been known to be a conservative. I've been known to like support the Republican Party. I don't think that's any, you know, secret. Although I don't talk about it a lot on. Yeah, I just think you can conduce that if you like really want to figure out what Benny Fisher is, like who's going to vote for. I think it's, you know.
Yeah.
I like to say I have choice, but when it's binary like that, like it's really hard to like, you know, it's a weird system that we have.
It's lesser of the two evils.
But anyway, so I had this post and I took my kids out there and Brittany, and I think that one of her friends, and Brittany's not even on social media, I think that one of her friends saw that and said, oh, you're with a Trump supporter. And like, stop talking to her.
I'm sure.
I'm like, what?
I'm sure,
like,
man.
Like, that's wild. I don't even really talk about it. I posted one picture of like my family, like at the thing, just because I thought it was an American thing to do. I don't know. Like, it's kind of like, it's very American. Like, I don't know. We're out here in Lake Trobe, man, and like there's a big old thing. It's just kind of fun. I don't know. It's yeah, I wasn't doing it to be mean or nasty, but yeah, that was very interesting how people can like be like that. I'm not like that. Now I will realize though that like I'm also not one of those people that have friends from like, you know, high school or college because I dropped out of college and never really finished. And I just feel like as I evolve in life, my friend circle kind of evolves with it. And so it's like, and again, moving from Ohio to Pittsburgh, you know, I didn't grow up here, so I didn't really know anybody. And so I think that, you know, and especially once you get in the entrepreneur circles, you just start to like, you know, hang out with people that are, I guess, you know, more like, you know, at the end of the day, like I actually prefer to have conversations with the other side because I'm fascinated. I actually am thoroughly fascinated that I see the world one way. And that you see the world the other way, and I actually am okay with it. I actually like the fact,
of course,
that you think that like we should just, you know, have government everything. Like I think that's fascinating. I want to know more about that because I also know I want more freedom, and you want more comfort.
And those two things cannot coexist.
They don't coexist,
right?
And that's okay. They do to a degree because we actually are coexisting, but like it's very choppy.
Correct.
And it's always going to be choppy.
So when I was young and, you know, before Benny was around, I'd be eating my cereal. I could be like 10 and then someone would bang on the front door and it'd be the local councilman, Democratic councilman, committee man come around handing you, hey, you know, make sure, give us to your parents, make sure they don't vote. We'd slam the door, throw it in the trash, go eat. That was the only political interference I had in my life growing up. That was it. No one wore their affiliations as a badge of honor.
You didn't even know what people were.
No one gave a shit. They weren't talking about it standing outside of the church after church service. No one gave a shit.
Well, I will say, though,
it's different today.
I know, it's different. but I don't necessarily look at it as bad. I look at the way that we were, like be seen and not heard. Don't talk about anything. Don't talk about finances. Don't talk about your religion. Don't talk about politics. Don't talk. That's like that's a common theme from well, I don't know. I feel like that's an old school. Like, yeah, I feel like
I think politics and religion and money were the three things I grew up. But I
don't think
in mixed company you don't talk about your personal.
But I don't think that that's healthy. I think that's basically because I think that's because you're not teaching anybody how to deal with conflict in a productive way, healthy conflict. So we just don't talk.
Maybe they thought it was unnecessary conflict.
No, I think that no, I don't think that's unnecessary. I mean, I think that. Why is it unnecessary? Because I feel like if you don't learn from other people, like and be able to have a different viewpoint. So I'm always going to keep drinking here. I'm always going to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm never going to talk about money. So how am I going to learn about money if I can't talk about money? Mm-hmm. And
well, I don't mean from an educational standpoint.
I know, but that's
like personal finance.
But here's the thing, though,
how much you make, how much they make.
Well, again, I think that it's weird that we don't. I actually think it's weird that like people don't ask more questions. It kind of like to your point, like, what do you wonder about? I wonder why people don't ask because like that's what keeps people down. If people would open up and talk about it more.
Like, what do you mean? Give me an example.
Like, for instance, like, I don't know, two guys graduating from college. They're in something because they went to college and they have similar degrees. They probably are going after similar jobs. Mm-hmm. And, one's going to come work for Rocco. One's going to go work for, who's the other big,
Edgar Snyder.
Edgar Snyder. Yeah, that's a funny one. So that's good. All right. So me and you are the college students. We're going out to get the jobs, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't know, like, okay, let's just say somebody offers me $75,000 and somebody offers you $100,000. Like, I just want to know why. Like, well, I want to know what the differences are. Okay. And then here's the other thing. 10 years later, when we meet up for our high school reunion or college reunion, like, hey man, how you doing? And if you want to like talk about like, hey, what's your career path like? How are you making money? Like, how are you making more money? Are you saving money? Mm-hmm. Are you investing? What are you investing in? Because we haven't talked about it, I believe that that's what keeps the 99 down more. And the one keeps going because the 1%, guess what we talk about? They talk about it all the time.
Well, I think that conversation is always taking place. Two guys that are friends and like that, going to college, whether it's the 20s or whether it's now. I think that conversation always.
It might happen a little bit, but like it doesn't happen in enough scale to where like we can actually use the information to make better, solid decisions, you know, and then feel like you're enough. Like, because what happens if it was reversed and all of a sudden, like, I don't know, like, if it was like really, I don't know, if the answers were different. Like, let's say you were making 200 and I was making 100. Well, I want to first of all, you might, as making 200, you may think that this might not be enough. But then when you hear that I'm making 100, I'm like, shit, dude, I'm doing good.
Yeah, perspective.
Or if I'm the one with 100, you're 200, I just want to be, hey, how do you do that? Like how can I do that? What can I go tell my boss? What kind of skills do I need to learn? Mm-hmm. If not, we just keep shoving it down. But companies and owners, entrepreneurs, it's actually to their favor that nobody talks about it.
Of course.
I'm just gonna tell you that because now I'm not actually I sold my company. But like everyone like wants to be hush hush on what everybody's making in the office, and I'm just like, that is so crazy because they're thinking about it anyway. Let's just post them. Like, why can't it just be all public? Why can't everything be public?
Because I think that's a great question. Maybe because we place such a value, a human value equation or quotient on what someone makes. And when that's been outed, there's like there's a tier in society. I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
It's fear, yeah.
But I think that has to be the problem. That has to be the major fear.
Well, sure, but that only helps. Like, because if, Tommy tells Frank that, he's making, he got a $5 an hour raise and he didn't get it. Those conversations are happening.
Of course,
whether we like them or not, because you said like
they've always been happening.
Right. They're just not happening There's some people though that aren't on the in, and so then they don't know. But regardless, it causes tension. It causes problems. What I want to do one day, and this is why I love blockchain. Are you familiar with blockchain and like the cryptocurrency stuff like that? So blockchain is so cool because it's like a public ledger.
Right.
I wanted, to, especially as a contractor in Pittsburgh, one of the things that why I became a contractor in Pittsburgh is because I saw so many contractors not doing the right thing, not taking care of the customer, overspending their money, and then 2 years later they go out of business and they can't take care of the warranty, like all that stuff. What I would love to do is I would love to have an open set of books. I would love everybody to see every single thing I spend money on and make money on. I'm not embarrassed. I don't care if you think I make too much money or not enough. I want my customers to see. I want the employees to see.
You want full transparency.
I want everyone to see. You know why? I'm only trying to make 10%, bro. At the end of the day, like if I make 15, good, we have a good year. If I make 5, we had a bad year. At the end of the day, I'm trying to get 10%. Everybody else can get whatever they want. Mm-hmm. I started it. I want 10. The 90 is going to go out to everybody else.
It's an interesting concept.
So, like, why can't I show like what I'm paying for my materials, what I'm paying for the guy that's cleaning up, what I'm paying for the dumpster?
It's an interesting concept.
Because then what we're going to do is then we're going to be able to. It's going to be more of an actual free market.
Purely free market.
Pure. Like the most transparent. And that's why people hate the blockchain. And that's why you're going to see the right people on the right side of the blockchain. And that's why you're going to start seeing cryptocurrency take off at a level that you've never even thought was possible. Yeah. And we're just barely scratching the surface. If you think $100,000 Bitcoin's a lot, wait till you see a $2 million Bitcoin by the time you're dead. Mm. Okay? Because people are going to realize it's so transparent. You can see where the money goes. It's like literally you can watch the money go.
And that's why all the governments are terrified of it.
Yeah, but
to this point, anyways.
Yeah, but then there's enough people, and again, it started as a small community. It's getting a bigger community and a bigger community and a bigger community because I think the good guys eventually,
I would hope,
are going to prevail.
I would hope
because you can't. The technology is consistent enough to where like it's just going to keep compounding, and people can't just get away from it because they're going to. Oh, I can trust that because look, I'm gonna. Eric's raising money for a project that he's got. He wants $100,000. Well, let me see how Eric did his last $1 million that he spent with crypto. Right. Where did all that go? Right. Oh, and is he?
It's purely transparent.
Is he doing something I don't agree with? Cool. I'm no offense, but like I'm not going to invest with you. Like it's not a big deal. I want to invest with people that you get to pick. It's free choice.
Right.
And the blockchain, you can't lie. You cannot hide. There's nothing that you can hide.
That's why politics don't like it.
No, I'm saying that. I think the politics could use that to their advantage.
They could.
Because you can't hide, then it's all
if
fair.
If they adopt it.
But because they're more corrupt than we are.
Exactly.
That's the only way that they wouldn't use it. Because if I wanted to use it, I'd be using it for sure. Because guess what? I'd set something up that said, all right, oh, you made this? Oh, well, we've all agreed to a tax. We've all said that it's okay. We voted. It comes out. It's all automatic. You know what I mean? Everything's just automatic.
And it's visible.
And now we're just trying to create value. Now we have a lot less of this noise, and now we can get busy to creating and working together and collaborating, and we don't have to worry about if someone's trying to F us over.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the people that are trying to F you over are going to, it's like, they're going to, like, so there's this tension right now in the world, and we're at a low point, and I still think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I'm predicting, I don't know if you didn't ask me for my prediction, but I'm going to give you a prediction. So by 2030, it's going to start tipping the other way.
You think?
To the good side, yeah. Yeah,
because you got to wait till you think it's going to be that long?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you talking globally or just the U.S.?
Globally. Well, I think everything's the same. I think it's all relative. So I think that, yeah.
Could be.
We are already global. I don't think that I think gone are the days that like, oh, America's just doing so much better or so much worse.
Well, we're all interdependent now, and everything's at the speed of all businesses at the speed of light.
Yeah, and so I don't think it's I think that I'm excited to actually see other countries do well.
Of course.
I already know how blessed I was, lucky to hit this like DNA lottery to where I was born in America. Like I can't even tell you how grateful I am every day to like just I don't know. I mean, like to be and it's weird because I think I don't know what we can talk about on this podcast or not, but
anything.
All right. So I'm a white male in America that I believe that, that comes with privileges. I don't really think that it's right necessarily, but I will tell you that like the way the system was set up, the year that I was born, the things that happened to me, I mean, I just feel really blessed for all the bad stuff that happened to me and all the good stuff that happened to me. And for that like even just for that reason, like I cannot imagine being a woman or being a black guy and having the same opportunities. And so I'm very grateful for that. But now how do I do something about that? I don't know. Like I don't have those answers because I'm not very political like that. Like I'm not going to go I'm not going to try to change anything because I know that just comes with a lot of noise and like, it's just, are you actually getting anywhere? But I do know that like now I see society, I almost see like the white male is becoming the minority.
Yeah, marginalized.
And they're literally trying to just chop you down every minute they can. And it is what it is. And it's like, I call it the tax for.
Well, we also think I think we spend too much time thinking about that all the time. Sometimes you can think things into reality.
I do think some people think about it. I also look at, I look at a white woman in America, a black woman in America, whatever. And I think about, wow, if she looks at the same gratefulness that I do, she can like tell herself a story that like, wow, she's living in the best country ever. Like women have never been more like in power, in charge, to be able to do whatever they wanted to do, like in like whatever. Then they can tell herself that story. Same thing with a black guy. Like, yeah, cool. Like I understand like there was lots of pain. Like I don't understand it. Like I'll never completely understand it. Like most black guys that are 40 don't understand it.
Right. Of course.
It was, 150 years ago that all the bad stuff happened. And so, but I'm conscious that like the stories that their families told and their families told and their families told created a dilemma in their brain, right? Mm-hmm. They still have, from my purest heart, like, I don't know. I feel like the kids I went to school with all have the same opportunities. Mm-hmm. There's no law stopping anybody from doing anything they want. It's just the stories in their head.
Of course.
Right. And stories that like their family tells them, their brothers tell them, their grandpas tell them. And then it starts with fear and anger. But that white people, black people, men, it's the stories that they say. And if they have a negative connotation to a story,
the beliefs,
the output of that is the result.
They're hampered by negative
beliefs. And so I'm very conscious of that, but I also don't know how to. I don't think it's my place to fix it anyway. I think I just go keep creating and keep being a good example. Love all humans. I'm super curious about the humans that are different than me.
Yeah.
Like,
what's the toughest decision you've ever had to make?
Whew, that's a transition. What is that? Holy cow, that's a transition. that's a whole podcast shift. The toughest decision I've ever had to make.
I'll let you off the hook. One of the toughest you've ever had to make.
Getting a divorce. Mm-hmm. Probably. That was pretty hard. Because I was worried about my son, like I was worried about this thing of like being able to keep a successful marriage together, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look like a failure, and then it looks like I'm walking away, and like there's a lot of like I cared more about what everybody else thought. That was probably the toughest because it was it's not what I intended. It's obviously when you start, you don't start something to hope it fails. I wasn't even aware though. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, when you're younger, there's so many more awarenesses that you learn about yourself. You learn about, like, when I got married, I wasn't even an entrepreneur. Like, I was just like I had like $500 to my name probably. Like when we opened those wedding cards, I was like, oh, we're rich. Like, my net worth just like tripled. And so that was it. That was probably the tough decision, to actually just, walk away from something and like, it almost felt like quitting on that, but then also being able to start a new life, which I knew was very, going to be healing for me. I knew what I was going to do with that chance, to make that transition. I would think also, selling my company. That was another one that was pretty recent. We closed that deal on February 28th, thanks to the Cozza Law Group. Special plug out there to those guys. Like that's like something that comes with, it's bittersweet. It's I know that there's new freshness on the other side of that, but then it's like, oh, what if I would have just stayed 10 more years and built it like this? I don't know. It's like
still a what if game.
It's always a what if game if you let it be. But then how
do you fight against that?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you asked that. Now we're getting somewhere. All right. So that's a long one. So I read a book. I'm going to start with that in case I can't get it all out. So I read a book called Shine.
Okay.
and it's by Gino Wickman, the guy I talked about when I read the book Rocket Fuel.
Right.
And so this was not about business. This book was about what he's discovered. There's 3 discoveries. First of all, that I am driven, and this book is for entrepreneurs. I am driven. All decisions are made out of love or fear. And you can be driven and have peace. Mm-hmm. That's the one that we all, like the drivens that we struggle with, because it's this constant like polarity. Mm-hmm. And it's never peaceful, right? And so it's like
seldom.
Very seldom. No, now again, because it takes work, right? And you have to, unless you were raised by a bunch of Catholic nuns or monks or whatever, which none of us were, we have to rewire ourselves to then, so that way, if you are searching for peace, we have to rewire ourselves in a way that that we can use skills to mix with our beliefs. And so, because I'm such a big faith guy, like to me, it wasn't enough to believe in Jesus, believe in God, and like all that. I also needed then a system that I could comprehend, so then that way my thoughts, like I was more organized in the way I thought. And so what Gino talks about is there's 10 disciplines to maximize your energy, your impact, and your inner peace.
Okay.
Discipline number 1 is 10-year thinking. Okay. And so most of us don't sit still long enough to even think about what life is going to be like, or what life will be like when we're like, 10 years from now. And 10-year thinking is just a metaphor for, you could be 30-year thinking, 50-year thinking. I mean, there's guys that like, Bezos thinks in 100-year like time, like what's going to be, even though he knows he's going to be dead, he still thinks like that, because once you create that vision for your life, everything else becomes a lot easier to make decisions. Okay. Because it either fits or it doesn't fit with that future self.
Right.
You can actually, and then there's another book called Be Your Future Self Now by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And that's a fascinating read. And it articulates what I've already found out for myself is like, you can actually create your future now and just be in it. Mm-hmm. But most of us fight it because, like, again, there's just a lot of noise up there and there's a lot of distractions.
Is that the same theory as like, live as though you are there? Yeah,
well, it's the same thing. But it's actually, how do you do it though? And not just talk about it and it sounds like a cool buzzword. Okay, discipline number 2, take time off. Mm-hmm. Take at least 130 days off a year. Don't think about work.
It's a tough one for an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's not about, look, you can go to Florida, but like if I'm in Florida and I'm constantly on my phone thinking about work, taking customer calls, employee calls, talking to my business buddies. No, man. Like, think about this. Hey, I'm going to, especially if it's not your work. Now, guitars now are not your work anymore. But like if you went away for a week and you just played and made some guitars for yourself and not thought about real estate or podcasting.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like what we're talking about, right? Because it gets you into a different creative state. And it also takes some pressure, because when you go back into the work mode, because we look at there's 2 sides of life. There's your impact side, and then there's your peace side. Impact is like the work that you bring to the world, the things that you're doing. The peace side is like your flow, your serendipity, your creative side. And you need both. And it's like an infinity symbol. And you want it just to be at the same speed. And we all have different speeds. Like I might be going 80, you might be going 90. That's okay. But it's when you go from like 90 to 50 all the time is when there's problems, right? Or when you're only on impact and you're never on peace, or you're always on peace and never on impact. It's not a beautiful life.
Right.
And so discipline number 3 is know thyself. And so this is where some of those, getting feedback from your peers, getting real feedback. Like Eric, I'll send you an email and say like, how do you really feel about me? Like, what are some of the blind spots that I'm not seeing about I'm talking like get real vulnerable with people. Take some of these personality assessments.
It takes extreme humility.
Yeah. Well, that's discipline number 10, be humble, but we'll get there. Discipline number 4 is be still. Sit in silence for 30 minutes every day. Mm-hmm. We don't need
to do if you're not used to that.
We don't need to be a monk. We don't need to sit in silence for all day. We just need 30 minutes a day. You know why? Because the way that we process information, like 30 minutes for us is like, 300 minutes. And so we only need 30 minutes. And we also only need 30 minutes because most of the other, I always call it like the people that don't have this like this gene thing going on, they might be able to just get away with just like not having to do it as much. or they might have to do it, it's just not as important. The effects that we can have off of 30 minutes of silence or just even journaling or contemplating is really big. And then discipline number 5 is know your 100%. And this basically means know how many hours a week and how many weeks per year that you want to deliver your impact to the world. So have a container for your work life. Because too many people like us, it's just all one big blur.
Yeah, it's fully open, yeah.
And then what happens is we just become like bipolar a little bit,
right?
And they diagnose us. But like at the end of the day, it's just because we're floating in between these worlds, and it's hard on our families, it's hard on our coworkers, it's hard on the people around us. Discipline number 6. So if you just the first 5 disciplines are the foundation. Once you have those, that's like your roadmap. And then discipline number 6 is say no often. Mm-hmm. There's a book that I loved when I started reading books. I only started reading books like 5 years ago, but I probably read like 150 of them since then. Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Mm-hmm. You know it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's all about that, right? It's like, say no often. You can build a beautiful life.
There's a beauty in no.
Yes. And there's good way, and you can learn how to say no tactfully too, which is really, really helpful. Discipline number 7, don't do $25 an hour work. Or basically I say, don't do anything that zaps your energy.
Right.
That somebody else would love to do.
Yeah, and that's another tough one for entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs to know and to learn.
Yeah. And again, 25 might mean 100, it might mean 10.
Of course.
That's just like
of course.
It's like, give somebody else that opportunity that would love that opportunity.
Yes.
Like for instance, like for me, cleaning my house. I don't want to clean my house. My wife don't want to clean the house. And so we pay a lady $40 an hour, cash, to come clean our house. Guess what? She's a mom. She's got 2 kids. She's trying to give them a really cool life. And that's really good. Like where she, I think she's an immigrant from, I don't know, Middle East or something like that. Dude, she kills it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to clean. And I'd much rather come do a business deal for an hour. I can make, lots of money and give her a couple $100 to clean my house. Dude, it's a win-win for everyone.
Of course.
So that's discipline number 7. Discipline number 8 is prepare every night. So make sure that, before your head hits the pillow, that
your next day's planned out. That's an old Jim Rohn tenet right there.
Oh, none of these are like rocket science,
it's an important one.
But when you put the 10 together, very powerful.
It's an important one.
And then number 9 is put everything in one place. So before my Remarkable, I would have Post-it notes everywhere. I'd have whiteboards here. I'd have spiral notebooks over here. I'd have stuff in my note app on my Apple phone.
Of course.
Stuff in a Google Doc. Stuff everywhere. And so how peaceful is that? So these are just disciplines that you can, once you can master, you got to work at it. And I'm not perfect. Mm-hmm. I rank myself. There's an assessment that you can take to see where you're at, on a scale of 0 to 100. I ask you 20 questions, on a scale of 1 to 5. And, I ebb and flow, and I've never got 100 ever, and so, I struggle to even get in the 80s. But I'm much more aware now. And so, people keep asking me, Benny, you just seem like you're just floating through life. And I am, to a degree. I mean, there's still things that, I know I'm weak at, really weak at. But it's much better than my previous version of Benny. Mm-hmm. And that's who I'm always competing with, is all right, well, how do I become a better version of Benny? And then how do I just be more of an example for that? And then when other people ask, the question that you asked, how do you find, I think it was something around peace. Mm-hmm. And it's I practice these things because I found them very valuable, because a guy I look up to, or a mentor, or guru, whatever you want to call him, he was doing those things for 30 years. Thought it was awesome enough to then put it in a book, share it with the world. Sure. Why would I try to go figure this stuff out myself?
Rewrite, yeah. You don't need to
rewrite it. And all he did was take all the different parts. We can tell all the different places he took it from, because there's whole books on just that one discipline. He just put them together.
Why do you think so many humans, we always try to rewrite something that's proven to work instead of adopting it and understanding it is what it is? Let me just take it and run with it. But we tend to never take things verbatim completely. Mm-hmm. Like Rohn used to say all the time, some things just are the way they are. And if they're successful things, quit asking questions about it. There's plenty of other things you're trying to get answers for. If this is such a rock solid, grab it, accept it for what it is, quit trying to figure it out, and just use it to your advantage and go. And that helped me. That helped me a lot when I got into the guitar business. Because I was trying to reinvent everything that had been done prior. And that was a mistake. It was a mistake.
You just need to tweak it or improve a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Bring a little creative flair.
Uh-huh.
Take that black shirt and put a little art on it.
Something. Generally that was it. And it was,
you don't need to recreate the shirt. You just need to put some paint on it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Discipline number 10, not to get off track, but be humble. That's all. I think, what is it? Think of yourself. Don't think of yourself less. Think less of yourself.
Why do we struggle with that so damn much? That's the big one to me.
That's the big one to me. That ties into why do we always gotta why do we always gotta buck the system? I think it's part of the human experience. I think that this whole podcast thread I think that you've been on is do you ever question things, or do you ever do you wonder about things? And it's I think all of us have that inside of us. Is all right, well, that light works, but do I want to make a better light? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should still put candles in my house. I don't know. I know that's an extreme example, but I'm sure back in the day when the light came out, people were like, screw that. I'm still lighting the candle.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually everybody just came over to the dark side or the light side. I mean, I don't know. I think that humans, that's just the human experience. I don't know how else to explain that. I think we're always going to want to fight it a little bit. And we don't want to just...
That could be positive, right?
We just don't want to accept. We have trouble with acceptance.
Why is that?
Because we never were accepted. Usually as young people, or we've had an environment where it wasn't a very accepting environment because it just keeps getting passed down, this lack of acceptance.
What about the accepting reality, though? For what it is?
Because your reality is different than my reality. So
okay, so I struggle with that.
Really?
That's a very popular phrase. And I believe it. That's why we don't see the world the same way. I get that. But on the other end of it, from a physics standpoint, we are in this reality. We are in this reality together.
Are we?
I mean, you're touching these, right? You're touching the same table I am. I think we are.
That's what you see.
I think I suspect that we are. Now, there's a theory of, there's all these thin parallel lines of reality all together, and we're in different lanes. I mean, I'm not a physicist.
I'm indifferent about that.
I'm not a physicist. I don't know. But, I just wonder. I wonder about that. When it comes to humility, it's just, do you think it's just a constant rub against the ego?
Yeah. I mean, your ego is, I don't know how much you dive into this, but did a lot of reading about trauma and how we're wired and what our ego is, and how our ego really does do a great job at protecting us.
For certain.
And keeps us very safe.
For certain.
Whatever that looks like for that human. But
it can rob a lot of joy, too.
Well, at a certain point, there's a tipping point where then now it's all right, once I become more aware that now that I have this ego, all right, how does my higher self, how does Benny up here mold and reshape and rewire his ego so that way it's even more beneficial for him and more abundant? Because Benny from 2000 to 2005 had this ego. Well, and then it could get worse based on who I'm hanging out with, what I'm thinking in my mind. Sure, but once I become aware, then it's all right, well, how do I shift my ego a little bit? Because I want to become somebody different.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's retraining your ego, reworking, falling in love with you. Listen, it's more about love. You got to love that. You got to love that devil inside of you. Mm-hmm. That ego that gets you that, once you, all that, just, that stuff. You can't fight him. I mean, you can, but you're going to keep losing because he's still going to win. But once you then can just fall in love with that ego and know that ego is oh, thank you, my 2000 to 2005 version, or my even hey, listen, my 2024 version. Because now I'm trying to speed up. How can every quarter can I tweak my ego a little bit? Because I know that every time I unlock another part of my ego, there's more abundance that comes into my life. There's better relationships that come into my life. I feel more at peace.
Yeah.
And then once you get a couple of those going, then it's like then it's over. Like it's hard to ever go back.
Hopefully.
But most people though are still struggling to get to that one point of awareness where they don't want to submit. They don't want to submit to their own self.
Mm-hmm. What's the most painful, right?
I mean, yeah, and they definitely aren't submitting to their partners. I can tell you that. So, like, and most of them aren't submitting to God either. So, like, at the end of the day, like, we're just stubborn human beings. But our ego, actually, the thing that created that is the thing that we're trying to fight against, which is very paradoxical. Mm-hmm. But it is possible to tame that ego down and stay down. And if you listen to the
have you serve and have it serve you as opposed to be a hindrance.
It's working for you, not working against you.
Yeah,
and
that's the key.
Yeah, and listen, I think that's what we're all, whether we realize it or not, we're all working towards that every year. And there's lots of different ways to do it. We just talked about we had a guest. We both had a guest, Melanie.
Yeah,
she has one way of dealing with that, and she's going down a path that I feel like is very
psychedelics.
Yeah, she's using a lot of different retreats and different things, and and I've tried a couple of different things like that. And there's no right or wrong thing for everybody. You got to figure out what works for you.
Certainly.
But what I will say about the psychedelic thing is that some egos are so raging that the psychedelic actually just takes you down for 3 or 4 hours, just so you can find yourself temporarily, so you can have a vision of what it could look like. So that way, when you come out of it, you're like, oh, wow, like I really do love myself. I really am not ashamed and embarrassed or like there's work to do. And then you can go out in the real world and actually put the work in, and you might have to go back in for a little bit. And I think that the people, as long as you use it for the good intention, I think that it's not harmful. I think once you start to use it for not the right reasons, just like with anything in life, just like the internet. Yeah. Just like any tool, any gun, use the gun for a wrong reason.
For sure.
It's kind of like, it's going to hurt someone. And so.
Talk to me about this, did you have a fentanyl episode? Is that what happened?
An episode. I overdosed on fentanyl.
And how recent was that?
I was in 2017.
Yeah.
Coming up on.
Can you talk about that?
Coming up on 8 years.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. What do you want to know?
How did it happen? Was it gradual? Was it a one-time slip and fall?
No, it wasn't a one-time. Yeah, no. It's so I had a couple. I'll go back to I tried drugs for the first time in my life, and I was 26. I was a late bloomer. Yeah, very late, because I was always afraid of drugs. Then one time I got drunk and was at a party, and someone offered me cocaine. Did that. Started selling it a little bit. Somebody then told me about painkillers, and I took that. I was like, wow, that's even better than all of this other stuff. And then right before, I didn't know anything about fentanyl other than you'd hear about it on the news and stuff, and that it was a synthetic.
Yeah.
Long story short, I moved to Pittsburgh. I got arrested for selling drugs in Ohio. The night that I got arrested, I was snorting heroin. So I was to a point where I started doing. I never put a needle in my arm, and there's always levels to all these drugs and stuff like that. Probably because I was afraid of needles, and I also knew that it's even more addicting, and so the brain inside of me was able to at least find some type of weird edge and say I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to be okay. We trick ourselves. That's our ego again. Anyways, moved to Pittsburgh, get away from all that, clean for 5 years. I started making some money. I started my company, started making some money. I nonchalantly, I was golfing one day and someone threw me a Percocet, because these old guys they use it for their back, makes their swing better, whatever. For them, it's harmless. You know what I mean? It's their doctor. They've been eating them every, they eat one or two. They don't ever take more. They're good. I'm not like that. I like to derail. I like to go all the way in. And I knew what it was. I was no dummy. I played dumb. I was like, oh, what's this? Oh yeah, that feels kind of good. And then I was afraid to go ask them for more. I didn't want to do that. So I knew how the internet worked, and I was buying drugs online, and swallowing the pills weren't enough. And then I started chopping them up, snorting them. And it got to a point to where it was just enough to kind of like, after a while, you don't get high no more. You just kind of needed to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point in my life, I was still like, oh, I'm still doing this for fun. And it wasn't really, I wouldn't say it was a problem. I never missed work. I never did anything like, I was just kind of always in a party. I was always in I was basically blocking out pain. Pain of running a business, pain of trying to be a good husband and a dad, trying to balance all that, trying to manage this money and the business. Like it was a lot, man. Like I never had any experience with any of that, and it all just happened at the same time. And so I go home one day. I was golfing. It was August, hot summer day, just like today. Hot summer day. I'm on the golf course for 5 hours. I'm getting ready to go to a fantasy football draft. It was like late August. My buddy was going to come pick me up. I stop home, shower. I have, I think a 4 or 5 bedroom house. Just moved to Jefferson Hills in this big house. I was like on top of the world. So I just, it's time to do a little line. I'm just going to do a little line, perk up, come down, smile, say hi to the wife and kid. My buddy's going to pick me up, go have a couple beers, go fantasy football draft. It's going to be a great night. Well, I snorted that little line that I normally do. Didn't do anything extra. Didn't do anything crazy. And the next thing I remember, I was in the back of an ambulance with a paramedic over my head with a bag on my face with like an air breathing machine. And she's like, "What did you take? What did you take?" Like screaming at me. And I'm like conscious, but I'm not conscious. Like I got tubes in my throat. Like I'm like, I took the drug, And then the next thing I know, I woke up like a day later in ICU at Jefferson Hospital. And here's what's interesting. By the grace of God, and I know some people are God people, some people aren't, but I will just tell you that there are no coincidences. The house that I moved into happened to be like 4 minutes from Jefferson Hospital. My buddy picking me up, like I was dead on the second floor of my house, because one of the spare bedrooms I used was my office. My wife and 3-year-old were downstairs. She would have never came up and found me. I was literally, he came in the house, picked me up. "Hey, where's Benny?" He's upstairs on his computer. I didn't come down. They were probably yelling for me. He's like, "Oh, screw it. I'm just going to go up and get him." He saw me on the floor, dead. Started beating on my chest, called 911. I mean, had he not walked in at that moment,
right,
or been late or whatever, you can only live so long while you're dead. I mean, it took 2 shots of Narcan, and it was just, and again, it was just the pill was just overlaced with a little bit of extra fentanyl. I guess I thought I was just doing an Oxycontin,
right,
like because
right.
It looks like it. But
what year would this have been?
This was 2017. This is 8 years ago.
Okay,
and so, and it's crazy too because nobody knew that I was doing this because I'm really good at hiding stuff. I think that we, again, my wife's a goody. She was a goody two shoe. She's a lawyer. She's never did anything bad in her life. I wake up the second time and I'm in the hospital and I see these women, my mother, my mother-in-law, my wife. I think my sister was there. I was like, oh man. Do I really have to talk about this? I feel like I felt so embarrassed, so ashamed, so just, I don't know, hopeless. But at the same time, I also felt relief that somebody actually knew again.
Sure.
But it's I've been in trouble so many times even before that in my life and been kind of a knucklehead. And these people, they don't understand. And they just say, "Why don't you do better? And look at this beautiful family that you have. And look at your business. And you got all this. Why are you going to throw it away?" And I'm just
That's always the case, right?
I know. And I just again, I don't know. Yeah. And it just puts you in a shame circle. It just puts you in the shame thing even worse.
Probably. I get that.
But luckily, God gave me another shot. And so I and I had broken ribs because he broke my ribs. My buddy broke my ribs trying to save my life. That actually was when I got home 3 days later, that was the part that hurt the most. It was my broken ribs. I couldn't even breathe.
No golf game for a while.
Oh, I don't even do that golf anymore. I feel like everything bad happens at the golf course. Anyway, well, when I found out my brother got murdered, it was on the same golf course.
Oh,
that's a whole other story.
Terrible.
And then I've had recently just had 2 more babies, and I'm just in dad mode now. So I'm just like, you know what? I just 5 hours at the.
Yeah, it's a big commitment.
Golf's a big commitment. And so, yeah, I mean, that I was doing that in isolation, and it felt good to even like, you know, have people that knew I was struggling with something. And I knew that God must had a different plan for my life, because why would he keep saving me through these situations? Because I had a couple other near-death experiences. You know, I got pistol whipped in a drug deal that went bad, like back in my late 20s. 3 black guys, they should have shot me. I mean, I don't know why they didn't. I think that's kind of dumb. They literally robbed me at gunpoint, steal my car, take all my money, take all my drugs. They take everything, dude. And they like, somehow I'm still here telling you about it.
Left you conscious, yeah.
It's wild. And so I like, you know, God has a bigger plan for my life. And it took 3 years of a lot more pain. And again, I didn't tell anybody. Like, I didn't tell anybody at my company. I was afraid to tell anybody. Like, we made up a story, like, because I was home for a couple of weeks because I was not in good shape. Because even coming off drugs like that, cold turkey, dude, that's a whole nother pain. Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother pain moment.
Did you do it all at home? Did you detox all at home?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I never went to a facility. I thought about checking myself in a facility a couple of times, but then I was like, oh, I got to tell people I'm away for 30 days. Like, I wanted to. I just want to get it done quick. Like, I just wanted to, like, I knew that I could take my money that I had and compress time and just go somewhere for 30 days.
It doesn't work that way.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know. I never tried it. I ended up doing it the hard way. And you know what I noticed over the next 3 years is I might have substituted the drugs for, you know, I started gambling more. Mm. I started going out and getting drunk more. Like, I started not coming home at night until like 2 a.m. Like, don't just like, I started doing that more, you know, because when you're doing the other stuff, I mean, I'm zonked out. I'm zonked out on the chair, and like, you know, I wake up the next morning, I'm like, all right, it's time to go to work again. And so I just found myself just substituting, you know, and I still, you know, the biggest addiction I struggle with food, and I love eating, and I'm like, yeah, and I can't, I was bigger even at like 20. I mean, I was probably 400 pounds. I lost like 100 pounds. Now I've gained like 40 of it back. So I've always had a struggle with weight. But it is really one of the last things that I'm struggling with now is this. It's, you know, it was basically my first love too. Like, as soon as I graduated high school and left the home, you know, and I turned 18, I started selling cars and moved out and got my own stuff. I started making money. All my friends were in college being broke, and I was the guy always being able to buy whatever. And yeah, and I'd go get steak dinners whenever I wanted, because like, I grew up poor. We never went out to eat. Like, I was going out to eat all the time.
Because you could. Just
because I could. And I was just enjoying. I was basically just enjoying too much in excess, because I think I was trying to fill a void.
Sure.
Well, I know I'm filling a void. And I'm still filling a void. And I'm still in this discovery process of like, all right, I've done a lot of things well. I've also done a lot of things not well. And I just keep trying to tweak it, and I'm very hopeful.
You think most of us are, though, but most of us aren't really aware of it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously some people can hide things better, because, like, you know, for me, overeating, you know, you can see that I'm not like the most skinniest human being, right? Like, you can physically see that. Mm-hmm. You can see my pain on me. Right? Now you can also see the pain of the ripped bodybuilder that's obsessed with being in the gym 8 hours a day, and you can see that pain too. It's just a different kind of pain. Just a different kind of pain. That's
exactly right.
So sometimes you can see stuff that's pretty easy to spot, and then there's the stuff that's like really hidden and underneath the layers that no one really wants to talk about, or they mask it in success. Like, some people like work too much. Like, a lot of us entrepreneurs, like we work too much, but like because in America, we've glamorized that, because, like, you know, the government needs us to work. So,
of course.
So like, oh, that's a good thing. So, like, you know, and then, like, you know, working out 4 hours a day and, you know, being this and doing that, you know, some things are, they're still trauma responses.
Of course.
They're all trauma responses.
Well, how'd you channel, like, when you sold the business, you made a decision, I'm selling the business, and on that day that you closed and it's done, I realize you still have 80 to 20%, but obviously
they fired me. Like, I'm not even I'm not on payroll anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So how did you channel all that activity to, like, one day pure activity, entrepreneurial activity, next day money, but nothing to do? Was it kind of like that?
Kind of, but for me, it was a little bit different because I was practicing for a couple of years. And so what I mean by that is I was able to use these skills in my business that I now help other entrepreneurs with. Systems, processes, clarity, scorecards, all these things that just got me really clear on my business. And then I was able to delegate to other people. I was able to get to a point in my business where I was literally only working like 4 hours a month for like the last 2 years. And what I was doing then is I was starting to build up the thing that I become super passionate about. And so after my brother was murdered in 2021, I realized, all right, God really does have a bigger purpose for my life. Why does he keep me here? Why does he take him out? Like all these things, like what is it? I'm not supposed to be the owner or the CEO of a roofing company for the rest of my life. I already knew that. Like, but we all grow up in a world that says, oh, once you pick a career, like you just got to stick with it. Whether you're a business owner or whether you work at the steel mill.
Very true.
It doesn't matter. Like people think it's weird when all of a sudden you just like, oh, I'm done with that. Like they literally look at you like you're freaking crazy. Mm-hmm. Like every single, do you know how many people, 99 out of 100 humans, except for some of my very conscious high level entrepreneur buddies, but most of everybody else, so like, I don't know, 7,000 people follow me on Facebook, 6,900 of them. Why would you do that? Like, well, hold on a second. Like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because I realized that my that no longer, it's kind of like my ego. That no longer serves me. Mm-hmm. And guess what?
Yeah, but only you would know that.
Yeah, and my people, they need a more passionate leader that is obsessed with roofing in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, as much as I still love roofing in Pittsburgh, that's not my most thing that I'm obsessed about. Mm-hmm. My most thing I'm obsessed about now is helping other founders and entrepreneurs get the clarity and the peace that I had. So then that way their identity, and help shape their identity to where their identity isn't their company.
Right.
And their company isn't their identity.
The identity component is a big thing.
Yeah. And so I went through this whole identity transformation shift in 2020 during COVID. COVID pops. I had this big aha. I made the decision to get divorced. I made the decision to change my life. I started making big changes in my life. I started reading books because I knew that like I didn't want the last 37 or 38 years to be like I wanted to start to change that. Mm-hmm. And because there was enough pain in my life and there was enough experiences that I had that I finally woke up and I said, all right, I just need to start to submit and start to like figure out like what God has in store for my life and stop trying to do it Ben's way and just see what happens this other way and just see what happens. Be curious about what happens. And so one of the coolest things that happened right at like my brother died in June of 2021. In May of 2021, right before that, are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary V?
Yeah, Gary V.
Okay. Yep. So he started this NFT project called VeeFriends. Mm-hmm. And I've always been a big Gary Vee fan. He was a big inspiration. I mean, I would listen to him when I worked for my uncle's company. He talked about brand, building something really memorable. And so like I just used all those little tidbits of advice because I never had anybody to help me like with the company or start a brand or anything like that. So I just used all that and just copied it. Mm-hmm. Just did stuff that I knew that worked and brought it here to Pittsburgh. And everybody thought it was, woo. Like I was like, what is this Big Fish Roofing company? Like we're just used to Ben Fisher Roofing and 2 trucks and a truck show up and like that's what they get. And so you heard that story earlier. And so Gary V was launching this NFT. I had just sold a piece of my business to a guy that was going to help me run it. So he was going to be like the number 2 guy. Like he was going to be there day to day, run it, more CFO, like just very good, great manager. And so he wrote me a check for like 25% of my company. And I was like, this is cool. And I used some of it to help me pay off some of the divorce stuff. I'm still paying for the divorce, but that's another podcast.
Oh, I'm well aware of it. Trust me.
Yeah. And so then so Gary V's like NFTs 5/5, like May 5th, like I'm launching. Like I didn't know what it was. And I was afraid to even like start to go down the rabbit hole because I knew what it was, but I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole because I knew that my brain and everything I'm about, I get obsessed. But then Gary just kept on it and he was very consistent. I'm like, well, man, I feel like Gary's never steered me wrong ever. Like everything I do, like Gary does, like me and him, like we did sports cards at the same time, crypto. Like I bought my first Bitcoin in 2016 for $600 thanks to Gary V. Thank you, Gary V. So I just felt like I owed this man like something. And so I bought like 6 VeeFriends NFTs. So these little cartoon characters that he's got called VeeFriends. He's like trying to make his own little Disney World with these. It's like imagine if you bought if Walt Disney sold you 1,000 digital things of his first Mickey Mouse drawing,
right,
is like what this is.
Right.
For people listening, if they don't know, because it's the
Right.
NFT fad came, went, still hanging on, and I think it's still doing good because I bought a good project. So I bought like, I don't know, I spent like $75K. Like I just dropped on digital freaking art, and freaking 99, those other 6,900 people on Facebook thought I was dumb. And I may be, I don't know. They can think I'm dumb, but I got in because I wanted to be a part of the community. I wanted more access to Gary.
Sure.
I knew how Gary's mind
Sure.
worked. I know he's going to give love to the people that are investing in him. And so I got on these like group Zoom calls with Gary, and like, you know, this is awesome. I'm getting, you know, kind of like you got to meet your hero, the KISS guy. Like Gary V was like kind of like that
Sure.
for me. Like I'm like, you know, this is fascinating. And so I told him a little bit about what was going on in my life, and he's like, Fish, he's like, you need to start a podcast. He's like, you have a story burning inside of you, and the story, you're not going to tell your story on your podcast, but you're going to start listening to other people's stories, and you're going to try to figure out how to formulate your story. Because I was still afraid to tell my story.
That's how it works.
I was afraid to tell my story.
That's how it works.
And so I just, you know, my first guest was, I had Chris Callan, Digital Blueprint Marketing, which is a Cozza thing. I don't know. They're all connected. All these people are connected. Met him through David.
Yeah, I know
Allen.
Chris.
Yeah, you know Chris Callan? Yeah, awesome guy. He interviewed me first on my own podcast because I just needed to like figure out what I was doing. And then Jim O'Brien, the Pittsburgh sports author, I had him on for 6 episodes. Because I knew Jim could carry like the conversation. And I met him at the Pittsburgh Home and Garden Show. He was over there schlepping books. I'm schlepping roofs. We've become great friends. I'm like, that'll be a great one because I can talk about sports. I can listen to all of his sports stories. Jim's going to do all the talking. And then eventually, somebody invited me to be on their podcast. I just let it rip, and I just bared my soul, and like I don't know. This is the end of like this was probably like 2022. I finally like got enough courage.
Yeah,
to
your first one. That's how.
It was very emotional. It was
I
like
know. Mine was as well.
Yeah,
I get it. I get.
It's wild and how healing that is then too. And like I don't have to walk around and pretend I'm somebody I'm not.
No, I get it.
And it was crazy because I always thought if I told my story and I told people that, like, you know, I did drugs, this and that, first of all, I didn't want to tell them because I thought customers would never buy a roof off of us. Employees would never want to work for me. My family's going to hate me. Like, why would I tell anybody anything? I mean, the hate that you see out there is awful. And then after I did it, you know what was crazy is everybody like swarmed to me.
Of course. It's because it was authentic.
Yeah. And it was like in my head, though, that it was going to be this worst version of what was going to happen.
But that's our self lying to us all the time.
And it kept me from helping myself.
Of course.
I mean, I remember thinking about like I want to go into like, you know, they have these clinics all around Pittsburgh that you can go in and get like, you know, whatever you need to do to get help off drugs. I got my face on a billboard. I mean, I drive down 51. I can't go into the clinic. Like you're gonna see me. Like I got a reputation. Like that's the weird thing about like, and it keeps people locked in.
Oh, no question.
It's awful. Like, and so now
that's the ego, man.
Now I feel
that's
like
the ego.
So through the podcast, everything happened. I just realized that like God gave me this amazing testimony, this amazing story of my life, like in real life. Like I'm not some Bible story, you know. You don't have to like read it and think like, oh, it's fake. Oh, that's, you know, I don't know, somebody made that for religion or no, man. I am a walking Bible story. Mm-hmm. For whatever you want to do with that, but like I know that the transformation is real. I know that you can be redeemed. I know that there's forgiveness and grace and all of these things. And I know that He also gave me a gift that I need to use my story to help someone else, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why I love podcasts too, because you're just never sure who's listening, and you don't know how you're going to help. But when you get a DM 3 years later that someone listened to an episode,
1,000,000%.
Oh my gosh, I melt on the floor. Like, I always wonder if anybody's listening.
Well,
because I'm not really big into stats and all this stuff. I do podcasting probably like you do because I would do it anyway. It's really cool. And then when they came out with all the cool technology, it's like easy for us to do now. Like I don't have to be like a.
Well, I think it goes a lot further. I think that the sharing goes in a way they don't keep accurate stats for their own selfish reasons. Yeah. I mean, I think things proliferate way more than the numbers show.
Well, what I realized,
you know what I mean?
And I don't do it. I remember I just wanted to do it for the one-on-one present connection that I could have with a human.
100%.
With no distraction.
100%.
And once I had that first episode with like Chris and then Jim O'Brien, I was like locked in this little box. And for the first time in my life, I was like, wow, this is really cool. I can go 100% present.
And we don't do this enough anymore.
No.
Because of this. Because of this.
Well, that, or we need to be drinking, or we need to be at a bar,
100%.
or we need to be eating food, or we gotta be at a party. Noise everywhere.
Noise.
Oh, hey, what are you doing? Oh, hey, let's go down here. Let's go to the. I'm like, and then I realized it was like therapy. And I'm just sitting there. I'm asking one question. And they talk for 10 minutes. Kind of like you. You're asking one question, and I'm ranting for 20 minutes.
Well, it's addicting to me. I'm addicted to this. I'm addicted to it.
You're presence. No, you're addicted to presence.
I love it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I love it.
That's a good addiction. It
makes me a better husband and father. I think better in business, a better listener. I've become a better listener because of this.
I gave a keynote. Every once in a while, I get up on a big stage, and I don't know, people pay me a lot of money now. Like, that's wild too. That's crazy to think about. All my stupid shit that I did in my life, I'm dumb. Like, I should. And now people like want to hear like me just bare my soul.
Yeah, because it's your willingness to do that. You know,
the only reason I charge them is because if I don't, like, my wife's gonna be like, "Why are you going to Minnesota for 3 days?"
If someone,
I'm like, I got, so I got to charge.
You always take the money.
I know.
So, but I quote Jim Rohn a lot on here because he was hugely important to me. He's the guy. I saw your Black Clover hat, and immediately I thought of Tony Robbins. And Rohn was Tony Robbins' mentor. So it all started with Rohn for me. But regardless, he used to always say, "Take the money. You don't need the money, but you should take the money." But in the end, man, it really is about being humble enough to share your story and be completely unvarnished. And it takes a certain kind of human to do that. And also Rohn used to say that we have the motivational industry, and he said this in the 40s or 50s. It's all fucked up. We shouldn't be paying the successful to come and get on the stage and tell you how to do it. We should be paying the ones who had everything going for them and they effed it all up. And we need those unvarnished souls to get on the stage and tell people that story, what not to do. That's more powerful than what to do. Mm-hmm. And I used to always ponder that. Like, I don't know if that's exactly right, but it sounds kind of right.
Well, I think it
sounds kind of right.
Yeah. No, I think you just got to be willing to share, because there's people at home right now that think they're the only one that's going through that.
Right. But you know what? That's what you just said is so powerful, because that is my thing. I am willing to throw the warts out there. If someone wants to know how some of this crap happened, and it comes up occasionally, I'll tell them, hey, I can tell you the good and the bad. I can give you the varnished, glossy version of it, how fucking cool it all was. And I can tell you how I blew it in the end. But decisions, and I'm okay telling both sides. It doesn't bother me or my ego or nothing. I mean, Rocco will tell you, I got no issue with sharing that part of my life, because if it stops one person from doing something utterly as stupid as I did, then that was a win. That's a win.
And if you can inspire someone that, like, no matter how screwed up their life might be, that there's a chance for redemption.
Of course,
that's also good too.
Yeah, but I don't think there's enough people willing to bare their souls like that. I don't know.
Well, because the world's evil. And so here's what you have to have. I believe that, it's a combination of, I do believe that you're born with certain creative gifts. That's inherent, whether you know it or not. So first thing is to try to get in tune with whatever those gifts are, I'll tell you. Second of all is your environment, your family, how you grow up, where you end up going, all of those things, your environment play a big factor in who you become, the good and the bad. And I think that if you can realize that, like, it's not good or bad.
It just is.
It just is. And you have this outer world story that everyone knows, right? Whether it's shiny or bad. For most people, we try to shine it up. It's the LinkedIn. It's the LinkedIn version.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Have you ever been on LinkedIn? Like, they don't talk about none of this stuff.
No.
Like, you might get some of this on Facebook, but, like, you ain't getting none of this on LinkedIn. Like, we all have to have our suits on. I don't even own I feel bad because I love buying David Allen suits too. There was a phase of my life that I bought them because I thought I had to be somebody. And so I loved, hanging out with my buddy, going to do all this. And now I feel bad because I don't wear suits anymore. I wear t-shirts. I'm like, dude, if you come out with a cool t-shirt, I'm in.
He was doing amazing casual clothes.
Yeah,
I got a couple of his sweatshirts.
Hoodies,
Yeah, I got those two DA.
Yeah.
Where are they?
DA,
What about us guys? Us more casual guys.
5 years ago, I still got the hoodies, man.
Yeah, I got a green one, olive green one, and a black one.
I got a yellow one and a green one. Yeah. And then I got army sweatpants.
You hear that, man?
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, I think that it's I think that the world is so evil though, and as soon as that you share it with the wrong person or the wrong channel, because I don't ever want to tell anybody they need to go on a podcast, they need to go on a stage. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a weirdo.
I understand that.
But if you can just find one person that you trust, the problem is
you're fearless.
The problem is nobody has. I want to get to that in a second. Write that down.
Fearless.
No, I want to come back to that. I'm not fearless. Oh, that's fascinating. My mind stopped. Hold on. Why'd you do that to me? Hold on. Where was I? I forget where I was at now.
You're saying don't go on it. You're not trying to encourage someone to go on a pause and bare their soul.
So here's what things. So people have told somebody something and then they've gotten screwed over because they've used it against them.
There's no question.
And so that's why people keep it all in.
They pull back. Yeah.
And again, they've been trained to do that. Whether it's their parents did that.
But okay, so what's the differential with people that are okay with they don't give a shit?
Okay.
What's that differential?
Well, it all depends. So there's
security in life.
No. I mean, there's some people that have had, here. I'll just speak from my own experience. So for me, it was I saw someone do it before I did, and so I saw someone kind of bear their so this Gino guy that I talk about. He's like. I saw him at a conference, and he started talking about some things that I'd never seen guru business guy author talk about.
Yeah, I get that.
He talked about, some of his childhood stuff that happened to him and very emotional, very vulnerable. And I was like, man, if this man can get up here after selling 3 million books and being like this big, huge figurehead in the entrepreneur world, can go do this. Man, I have a story. And then at that same conference, an entrepreneur would always lead off the conference in front of 2,500 of their peers and tell their kind of their entrepreneurial journey, because this whole company, this entrepreneur operating system, EOS, book traction, Rocket Fuel,
familiar with it.
They want you to install this system so you can live a more, a better life, right? Because they know the pains that come with being an entrepreneur. And I heard a couple of those stories, and I was like, man, and I always thought, when I heard the stories, I was sitting. I say pew because I was so Baptist when I grew up. I'm sitting in the pew or sitting in the audience at this conference, and I'm like, wow, wait till they hear my story. I don't even think I don't even think I can share my story. It's so bad. And then I realized it's not bad. It just is. And I realized, and I tested it out, and I shared it with I remember the first time I wanted to just share it with my team. I had 15, 16 employees at the office, and it was one of our annual meetings. And I just said, if you guys got 30 minutes, I just want to get something off my chest. And I just want to share with you guys. And I just told my story because I was sick and tired of the people at my company looking at me like I'm different. There's nothing bad that happens to me. I wanted them to know that I'm just like them. Yeah. I'm just like everybody else. I'm actually probably more effed up than everybody else.
That's typically an employer vision there.
Yeah, they think that you're perfect. Because again, I'm not coming into work every day telling them oh man, this happened, because I'm trying to also keep a positive culture. I don't want to be like the Karen.
Sure.
But there's also a time and place, and so I did there, and I tested it, and it went great. Then I got on a couple podcasts, and then what happened is people in my industry and different things, they started inviting me to conferences, and it just, I don't know, it just happened. That's
amazing.
It just happened.
It's fantastic.
I mean, and then I was then on that stage at that EOS conference, and they invited me to give my story one day because of a podcast, because they had asked me for my EOS story about my successes. But what they really got, they asked me about some of my pain. And then when they heard that story, someone was like, well, but we got to get Benny up there. And so I did this talk in front of 2,500 people with just Gino Wickman, who I've never met before, was sitting in the back room. And then all my, my wife was there. A couple people from my office were there. My mentor, my coach was there. I had a couple friends there. And it's a big production, right? This podcast is a cool production. There's some lights, but when you're on stage, 2,500
Hell yeah.
conference that they charge $2,500 a ticket for. Mm-hmm. There's like an unlimited budget for like screens and mics and audio guys. I mean, it's really wild getting up there, walking out there and be like, because that was my first talk in front of like over 500 people. Like I did some 500 person stuff, but like,
yeah,
there's nothing that compares to that. That's a very, and then to get up there and just be present, like a podcast. It's almost like a podcast, but my podcast training was important for that because you just lose all sense of like where you're at, and you just get right into it. Mm-hmm. The only problem is there's a clock because they need you to finish in an hour. That was the only part that I didn't like, but I also understood it because like I couldn't imagine just Benny could go for 3 hours, Benny could go for 10 minutes.
Well, that's what Rocco said when he did his TED Talk. There was the 18 or 17 second clock on there, and he goes, "That's brutal. 17 minutes is brutal, man.
It's brutal.
That's brutal."
And then and so it's just, I think God blessed me with a crazy story, a great gift, and I think it's my duty.
So you're on purpose. You're on purpose.
Oh, I'm on fire, and I'm on purpose.
So talk to me about fearless.
So the fearless thing, I'm not fearless. Like people think that, like, because I'm willing to do things that other people won't. But like, listen, I'm not going to jump out of a plane.
Yeah, me either.
So like,
a perfectly good plane. What would I have to jump out of?
Yeah. Do I want to go do a triathlon and like, or go do 100-miler and like, no, I don't want to do that either. Do I want to? What are crazy things there are? I mean, no, I'm not fearless. We can say that everyone's fearless if we pick the one thing that I'm afraid of that they're not, and then I can call them fearless.
Of course.
So, yes, I get that like 99% of the people listening at home is not going to be a hard-charging entrepreneur with crazy stories like I do and the life that I have, and I wouldn't wish this on anybody, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. It is not everything it's glamorized to be.
Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurship rarely is.
I have everyone always counting on me. Even with my business that's being sold, I still own 20% of it because I still believe in the mission. I still believe in everything. And I want to see those guys win. I just didn't want to have to be the guy charging through every day because I want to go help other founders. Of course. And I want to be a little bit more home with my little babies because I'm 43 years old. The opportunity to be able to be present. I have an 11-year-old, I have a 3-year-old, and I have a 6-month-old.
These are the important years.
There's not one
these are the important
I'm very
years.
blessed. Mm-hmm. Because I went through a lot of pain to be able to be in a financial situation, to be able to be in and control my calendar type situation.
100%. Yep.
That I'm able to like be present with my kids. My parents had me when they were in their early 20s. Like I'm in my early 40s and still having kids, and so like it's a completely different.
Yeah.
Like my mom and dad like never made any money. They were bouncing around from job to job. Then they all got jobs that they like stayed at for a while, and we lived a decent life. But it was like they was always worried about money. What's interesting is
that's most American families.
Well, what's interesting, and I'm worried about money because they were worried about money, and I'm still worried about money, and it's still ingrained in me, and it drives me absolutely insane.
I as well.
And if you asked,
that's an admission. I'll tell you.
Yeah, listen,
I as well.
If you asked 100 people, they're gonna say, "Oh, Ben Fisher doesn't worry about money. He does whatever he wants whenever he wants." True, from one point. But they don't see me. When you said, like, where do they see you? Like what do you think about, like, when no one's around or, like, when you're by yourself? Oh, I don't have enough. What if I run out? What if I die?
Yeah.
And then my kids and my wife don't know how to, like, do it. I don't know. Like, do I have enough? I don't know. Like, there's, like, the way that they're saying that the people are going to live. My wife's 10 years younger than me. Like, I don't know. Is there ever enough? I don't know.
Right.
And I have no idea what the world's going to change to. Like, and do I want them on the universal basic income, or do I want to have them on universal basic income plus? I don't know. I'm trying to get them on the plus plan. I'm really just trying to get them on the plus plan. I don't know. Man. And I don't know why. It's because I grew up in a way that, like, I don't know. They talked about money, just not in a very positive way. Like, we don't have enough. We're going to go out to eat one time a year. And I love my mom. I love my dad. I love my childhood. Believe it or not, sometimes I think my mom thinks I didn't like it because I talk about it in a way that, like, but it's not, because it shaped me for who I am in a positive way. Like, I would go back and say, make it harder because it's going to make me better as long as I get to live.
As long as I get to live.
Well, because
that's a bonus.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a bonus because it's not, based on my life, it's not guaranteed. So, I just think that I forget where I was going with that now, but that's all right.
Well, I think it's very common in our culture now for people to talk about how hard they had it when they were younger. And I think there's a lot of truth to that generally, because every generation tries to make it easier for their children. Mm-hmm. But I fell into that trap too, where I used to always say, well, and all those were true. We were in a humble little mill town, and we had enough to get by. But when I unwind it all, and I really think about it, we didn't have much, but you know what? No one around us did either.
Yeah.
And we had everything we needed. We were fed 3 squares. We were clean. We were sent to school. We had a loving family. Yeah. We had plenty.
You got 1 new pair of shoes every year?
Pretty much. Yeah. Maybe.
You have 10 pairs.
Once in a while, get a pair of Levi's and not have to go to Hills and buy their jeans.
But you didn't have 10 pairs.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly right. And,
my 11-year-old's got 10 pairs of shoes in his freaking closet.
As did mine, yes.
Like, what's the purpose of that? Like, you can only wear 1 pair of shoes at a time.
I know. It's when you really unwind it, we probably were just fine. But we like to romanticize about our childhoods. Americans do that. I'd imagine even those with a silver spoon in their mouth always think.
Well, we either use it for fuel, like guys like me and you probably use it for fuel to change it, so that we are, or the Karens out there use it as an excuse and complain. Oh, I grew up here, I grew up there. Like, okay, I remember when I first moved over here, I moved to Monongahela, a little steel town, all the way down south. You probably heard of the Monongahela River, obviously, but there's Little Mon City, and there's Denora. Mm-hmm. I mean, I tell you what, I'd never been around something like that before. Like the people, and listen, God bless the people. I couldn't wait to get out of that town.
Different culture.
It's just wild. It's just like the way that they talk about things.
Very limiting beliefs. Yeah.
Like there was some, and this is one of the other things I loved about being in residential contracting. Just getting to deal with homeowners all the time and listening to their stories. Because I would say it was like a podcast before the podcast. No one was listening.
I can imagine.
I mean, I would just hear these stories. There was people in Monongahela and Denora that never, ever been to downtown Pittsburgh. Of course. And when you say of course, I'm thinking and I'm coming from Canton, Ohio, and I'm like, yeah, like Cleveland was a treat. Like to go to Cleveland every once in a while, like that was a treat. But like to never say that you're going to go because you're afraid to drive an hour through traffic. Like what? Like how is that possible that someone can't make it to Pittsburgh because they've heard stories about how bad it is or this or that, and then they're like, I don't need that, and they just for 80 years they just never seen anything else. They've never been on a plane. They've never been to Pittsburgh. They haven't been anywhere else either. And that's fascinating to me.
I had a grandmother, one of my grandmothers, never drove. She, helped raise my brother and I. She never drove a car, and she never left the state of Pennsylvania. She hasn't probably been east of Greensburg. Never left Pennsylvania.
Isn't that that's fascinating? See, to me, I'm curious. Can we get here? This is what we should do. Let's find 2 of those people and let's just talk to them. I just want to
lifers.
I just want to talk to them. I have so many questions. Have you ever thought about doing like a project like that where
it's pretty amazing? Yeah.
You ever think about going to like a nursing home and like interviewing like, I don't know, old people and just...
The only problem with that is I think that you never know who has the dementia and who doesn't have the dementia. You might end up picking up some of that dementia and you hear these fantastical stories that aren't true. Sorry to say that could happen.
But what
might be funny.
What does it matter if they're true or not?
Oh, Matt. Well, yeah.
I mean, they're true
I guess
somewhere.
it doesn't ultimately matter. It matters. It's true to them at the moment. Yeah.
All right, what about somebody that's just like, I don't know, that's very different than us?
Well, so Rocco and I did a father and son podcast because both of our sons are the same age. So Austin and Gabe were, at the time we did it, they both were like 21, 22. Oh. So it's one of the best things I ever did with this podcast. It was like, it's a really good one. It's a good one. But to see them open up and talk about their life dating the opposite sex and how they interact and their fears of being, outed for asking someone out and getting rejected and how they're worried about being put on blast. And just the interaction is just so, because him and I are from an era before all that technology where, we'd pass a note in school or, there was just, everything is just different now. And it got me to understand some of the things they were facing socially I never even gave a second thought to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they heard it from us about how really different it was for their parents. It was good. It was really healthy. One of the best things I ever did here.
I interviewed my kid. He was probably 8 at the time. So it was just funny banter. I don't know if I actually published it as far as like, I think I put it on YouTube. I don't think I streamed it to all the other apps, but definitely we watched it the other day.
It's amazing.
It was fun. And I was thinking like, I don't
what
know,
a gift to your child.
Why don't I do that more often? Why don't I just get them on once a year? At
what
least
a
just
gift
like,
to your child. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm just trying to put like, that's another reason I love the podcast. And I'm sure you do too. It's like, whenever I'm gone,
this is it.
Like, hey kids, like they'll finally start listening when we're dead.
Number one reason. So them and their family and maybe their kids will know. My kids will know their father, but their kids will know their grandfather. Because I would give anything to hear my dad give speeches that he used to go and they were never recorded, or hear my grandfather, who was an engineer, worked on submarines for Westinghouse, and this genius of a guy, to hear him talk. I would love to just hear their voice.
Yeah.
My
grandpa, he died when he was 92. And I was aware enough to like videotape him when he was asking him questions back. Like, this was like 12, 13 years ago.
That's amazing.
And so I got some of those clips.
That's amazing.
But part of me, my creative side of me, if I could figure out a way to get paid for it at the same time, only because time is valuable to me, I would love to do a project where I just, let's say you hire me, and then I have creative control about, I'm going to go interview everyone in your family, your work, and literally just have them come in. I mean, it could be a year-long project, like literally, and then give them in a package, like, here you go. And then also reverse it. And so then that way I'd interview the client and I would just say, oh, hey, when I met Billy or Bobby or like, and I would have so much context about it. And then I would just interview them for like, we'd probably do 12 sessions.
Yeah, it's so funny you said that. That's part of
I just think it would be a cool
business plan. I had that when I started this. I said, I could really see myself putting my services out and for a price coming in and producing a full, 1, 2, 3, 5, 10-hour series. So it's a moment of posterity for their family, and it's a gift they would give to their family, especially the patriarchs, the matriarchs of larger families. It's a beautiful gift. There's a business plan in there somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
We're probably giving it away right now, but I'm telling you.
Right. Well, it's all about execution.
I mean, it is about
execution.
execution.
And with 7 billion humans, you technically need 7 billion people to do it. Like, to do it right. So, like, there's
someone's probably doing it somewhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, like, you know who it is? It's the future thinkers that are worried about the next generation, that are concerned, that care, that also have enough resources to realize.
1,000,000%.
Well, they like, all right, well, like, hey, I just need to go hire a video guy and like a good interviewer, and like, boom, next thing you know,
we can help create the questions.
I mean, shoot, you could probably get that done for $50,000. You know what I mean? And like, that's a thing that's going to last forever. And when someone says, well, what's the return on that? I don't know. Tell me how long you want to go out. 300 years, 500 years. Oh, we go out 500 years and it's $50,000. What is that? Like $100 a year? I don't know. Like, it's $100 a year for the rest of your life. I don't know. Like,
and your especially for your movers and shakers in society, people that have really, that have really, they'd
rather buy that than a new car. You know what I'm saying? Because we talked about that
legacy.
Earlier.
It's legacy, right?
Yeah, because it's something that you can't put a price tag on, really.
You would think.
It's not, because it just gets more valuable the longer and older it gets.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
You have a good time?
Here?
Yeah.
Today?
Yeah. You have a good time?
Yeah. That means it's over.
We can do this again?
That means it's over. Oh, man.
You can do this again?
Yeah. I mean, that's up to you, though. I can't invite myself back.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. It's an invitation-only show,
It is.
And it means a lot to me. You did this.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because it's an unconventional. I told you it was gonna be an unconventional show. I really want to get to. I get to know my guests on a different level, but besides anything that a resume can give me.
So, what'd you learn today then?
Pardon me?
What'd you learn today about me?
All kinds of stuff. I think if I had to sum it up, I think you are. I think a lot of people, when they think of you, they think of obviously Big Fish, and they think about the monetary success. It's there. It's there. It's there. That's what you were known for. But I think that getting to know you, that's a small part of your life. I think the human interaction. I hate that part
that people think that about me.
The human interaction and thinking about what other people are thinking in planning and how they're looking at different issues. That's a huge part of your makeup. And that, again, that's not easily visible until you do a deep dive.
Well, and people don't have the time to actually listen to my podcast. So if they heard the questions that I ask my guests and the conversations that we have, and I know we got to go, but there was people in, like, depending on how they know me, they assume things about my podcast. I'm sure the same thing happens. Of course,
yes.
And so, like, for mine, they're like,
this is a music-related podcast.
Well, yeah, or like, like they said, we're going to just talk about roofing all day, or like marketing or sales. I'm like, no, we don't talk about none of that.
Right.
Like, none of that.
Right.
Like, why are you assuming that? Like, just turn on an episode and listen one time.
100%.
But most people can't sit still long enough. And so,
yeah.
I mean, there's some, but like, but it's so interesting because it's, you're right. Nobody takes time to get to know people.
Bingo. Well, I think this is the only format left in society to do deep dives on is this type of arrangement, because everything else is a soundbite, and we're the anti-soundbite. That was my first slogan for the Eric McKenna project, the anti-soundbite.
Yeah, but you put reels out.
I have to.
Well, yeah, because like you can only give people micro doses because they won't take a macro dose.
I didn't do reels for the first 4 years. I only did reels like the last. Someone turned me on. Well, the reason why, Benny, is because before AI, I didn't have the time to sit and cut up little clips of my shows. It was taking everything I had to just to get the shows edited and produced the way I wanted them to look and feel. So I didn't have the time for that. But now with Opus Clips and the other software, it's like it's not perfect, but they'll feed me like 1 minute segments, and I'll tweak them and shove them out there.
We use that a little bit for
it's great. It's
excess
great.
reels, but
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I did. I loved it. I love this. I would
do it again.
Well, I think I've never done a show with multiple.
We do the panel. We need to do the panel show. The panel shows are so fun.
That would be fun.
They're so fun.
I always think I would be like good at like being like that third person of like where I'm like two people would be talking and I'll just interject every once in a while.
So you know what's interesting? What I found too, and again, it's just me. You might view it totally different. I don't like it having two people here in the empty seat. I like this one-on-one, or I want the four. When I have the third, I don't know if it's maybe just me. I don't know if it's the arrangement here.
It's your format in your mind.
Something.
Yeah, it's a format in your mind.
Missing.
So do you baseball at all? Baseball guy? So, sports, they always have the color guy and the play-by-play guy. And so you're the play-by-play as the moderator and the host, and then you need a color guy, but you still only have one guest. And so
it's a great way of putting it.
It's just one guest. It's not two.
Yeah.
You would have to then say, hey, Benny, you're going to be the color guy.
Maybe that's it.
Benny, you're the one that's like, listen to this conversation, and interject wherever you think that there's a moment.
Disseminate it, right.
Yeah. Or just ask another question like, hey, why? And then just interject tactfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you might like it better.
Nobody has really. There was like one or two out of the 300 shows total that we did, but there's one or two shows where someone got lost. Like at the end of the panel show, I'm like, they really didn't talk that much. Just one or two. Everybody's had it's been really good. I've been really lucky.
You hang out with some cool people, so like,
I'll do a lot of crazy shit though. There's people I've met through social media that I've never met them in real life, but I like what I see. They seem to be really good humans, all different walks of life. And I'll randomly just send out these invites. Hey, I'm putting a panel show together of 3 strangers. You might not even know each other on social media, but I want to talk about these three subjects and just see where they go. Here's the format. Here's a group of shows that we've done. Are you interested in doing this? No strings attached. No, totally, full transparency.
That sounds fun.
It's crazy. Yeah, and people have done it. I mean, I didn't know any of them until I walked in here the first night. And some lasting friendships have happened out of those shows too. It's been really enriching, man. This has been like the best. This way superior than the guitar business for me. This has been the most amazing thing.
Man, and I can't wait to interview about the guitar run.
I had a great run, but in terms of being fulfilled,
it's
by far the best.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
you're more present.
I got a lot out of this conversation. I mean, I love this stuff because we don't do this in real life, man. When people go, we're going to have coffee together. Okay, you sit in the coffee shop. Maybe if you're lucky, it's 30 minutes. But it's noisy. There's people around. There's distractions. You're looking at your phone. It isn't like this.
Yeah, you're figuring out where you're going to go next.
Exactly. It isn't like this.
I like that schedule, like what time you have it. Because, my kids go to bed like 7:30. So I was like, hey.
You carved out the time.
I'll be home. I was like, don't worry about when I'll be home.
We do. I've done them in the daytime. Now, in the summer, it's tough because this place, it's hot now. But I mean, it heats up bad in the afternoon. So it's not always the best thing for summer shows in the day, but we do day shows in the fall, in the winter, and the spring. Hair and
makeup coming in and waving me down.
And we're completely authentic here, brother.
But I think I would love it. I would love to. I think that's a good idea with like the This would be fun. This is
we
cool
tried a
setup.
5-person show too, and I got the mics to do it. That was almost too much. There was too many people in the room. 4 is perfect on the panel. It is to me. I think it's just it's almost like visually. If there's a third, someone and this is empty. It's almost like someone's fucking missing. I can't explain. I just feel like
But you should grab a
there's a void.
freaking dummy or a model and stick him in the table.
All right, man. I appreciate this, dude. We're done. Didn't even need this.
Oh, I thought we were done earlier. I thought we were just chatting.
No, we go all the way.
Oh.
All right, buddy. That's it. Thanks, partner.
Yeah.
All right, Benny Fisher. We're out.
The Eric McKenna Project podcast is exclusively presented by the Cozza Law Group, Pittsburgh's premier business attorneys.